Bada bing. It's important to turn off your VPN before you really get going. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
It's one of those famous things. Now, you're Cao Cao, normal guy, average man Cao Cao.
Okay, so Cao Cao, the general reading from like historians and critics and everything is that Cao Cao, a normal dude, probably did bad things because he was like an emperor you know what I mean? Like that sort of stuff happens. But he is written to be, in Romance of the Three Kingdoms, like everything that the author at his present day moment in the 12th century was like, here's all of the bad stuff that I don't like rulers doing in the present era. Very like Dante Alighieri in the Divine Comedy, writing about the like a weird little Italian meaningless politics of the day and putting them in layers of hell and everything.
Yeah,
like,
can I read his faction abilities here to get you interested in Cao Cao is enact devious schemes, incite proxy wars, deceive in diplomatic negotiations, influence diplomatic relations, and credibility decaying over time. Now you're telling me that's the air quotes bad guy. That's the symbol of everything one dude doesn't like.
The thing is, spoiler alert we're going to spoil a lot of the Romance of Three Kingdoms. Cao Cao, kind of after the first big act, comes in to be like the villain antagonist. Like, no matter who is like allying with who, Cao Cao is like the bad guy because he like holds the emperor and is like trying to make himself the emperor. And the thing is, they keep having him be like wrong or stupid or evil or bloodthirsty or like any negative trait, but because historically he
did keep winning.
Successful. Like the heroes do all of this stuff, and then Cao Cao just like Team Rocket blasts off again. But he's like Team Rocket blasts off again if he also was the head of the government.
Control the trajectory. It's very funny. So okay, so we know it's Cao Cao. Now, who are some other main characters here that are our options as recommended guys?
So here we have Sun Ce, the eldest son of Sun Jian, and
the narrator wants to talk.
The hopes of his father lifting him to ever greater deeds.
Narrator's
little
done.
Conqueror, Sun Ce from from what will eventually become Wu. I don't care about Sun Ce, but I do like his side the best. So it's one of those complicated things that like Sun Chon, his younger brother, who then is kind of a much bigger figure for the kind of the most interesting parts of the story. Like the Battle of Red Cliff and stuff like that. More stuff with Zhou Yu, who's probably my favorite and is almost certainly, there we go. If you see under Sun Ce's like noteworthy characters, the one on the left there is Zhou Yu, and the one on the right, the furthest right, is Sun Chong. They are two of my okay, I could root for you, especially Zhou Yu, who's like I think my most I could root for you of anyone. So we could play as Sun Ce. However, should we go to the next character?
Oh yes. Are you next one on the list? Let's let the narrator go.
Be watchful for fate's gifts.
Liu Bei has struggled from nothing to become a warlord of increasing renown. And with the tyrant dead, he sees perhaps his greatest chance to liberate the emperor from evil clutches.
Now this is the no force in the world is stronger than just four guys, right? This is the three-piece of homies, and then I really love these guys. I want to hang out with them.
Are you okay? So you, Riley, are familiar with these three main guys, right?
I'm familiar with these three main guys and the fourth guy,
okay,
and that's
from
Dynasty Warriors a little bit.
So these three main guys are folks might remember as, I don't know, Reed Duke, Huey Jensen, and whoever the third one is. These are the Peach Garden Oath guys. These are the kind of main characters. These are, at the very least, the protagonists. They're given the face booking.
Yes,
For the most
yes,
part.
they are absolutely given the Facebook.
I think I have complicated feelings about each of them, but my least complicated feeling is an overall big negative towards Liu Bei.
Damn, the power of friendship sucks ass, actually.
Zheng Fei is probably one of the most like three-dimensional characters in the entire Romance of the Three Kingdoms, in part because he has his strengths, but he also has like really evident flaws at the same time as his strengths. It's very much like the way historians look at the New Testament or look at the Gospels and go, oh, the bit where Jesus like came into the temple and flipped the tables and went wild. That part we are very confident did happen, in part because it's not a flattering portrayal.
Yes.
And so like you know what I mean? Zheng Fei has that extra kind of humanity. Guan Yu is an interesting fairy tale character, not someone I would root for, but his like Arthurian legend is good if it works. And Zhao Yun, Zhao Zilong, is my favorite of all of the Shu by like a wide mile. Like the only good one of any of the Tiger Generals, in my personal opinion.
The only one that can hang.
And then jumping to Liu Bu,
Be
who
open
I
to
think
events.
Who is overlooked and insulted by those undeserving of his skill. A prodigious talent stung by the constant arrows of indignity.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Liu Bu is, for a few reasons, the character who we're gonna be playing as today. He is a, I was literally going to say the words warrior without equal, which is literally his subtitle.
It says it on the tin.
Often recognized as one of the, strongest warriors of all time, ? Like he's just a guy of legend.
He's the guy. Yeah, Guan Yu is like a amazing legend. This is the guy.
What if instead of being, oh, I'm part of a group, it's like, no, I'm so strong that other groups kind of bend their will around. Just like, we either have Liu Bu or we have to figure out a way to not be fighting Liu Bu.
He has his own gravity.
Like we carry our own gravity with us. He has as a character disloyal, feared, formidable, and vanguard. Let's check out his faction.
Yeah, his faction right here. So we've got Zhang Lao, Chen Gong, Chao Chun, and Diao Chen.
Who is, she helped overthrow the tyrant Dong Zhuo, Liu Bu's concubine. And playstyle focus one-man army. I'm going to say let's hit start campaign and find out what the narrator has for us.
Absolutely. Here we go.
All sons are born in the shadow of their fathers. But the day will always come when they must stand alone and are faced with a choice. Do they follow the path put before them,
or take a different road?
She's great. She's Wang Yun's adopted daughter, and he sets her up to be like the love interest of both Liu Bu and of Dong Zhuo, so that Liu Bu is willing to turn on and eventually kill Dong Zhuo, which is honestly a really great tactic to,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
I love it.
Mhm.
It's have I told you I've been working on like a thing I can never actually do anything with, but just lives in my head and has for years, of like Romance of the Three Kingdoms, but seen through the lens of backyard wrestling. And in that, Lu Bu's just a college kid hanging out with a bunch of high schoolers. And so it's like we can't fuck with him. Nobody can beat him because he's just like 4 years older than us.
I think Red Seraph is asking if we could get subtitles. That would be great.
Yes.
If we can.
There's not a lot of actual talking, and so, well, that's not true, because there is right here.
We will see as soon as we load in if we can turn that on, because that is a good
That is a good
idea.
shout. Otherwise, a lot of it will be in loading screens at the bottom of the screen right there.
Much has
Oh,
changed since you struck down the tyrant, Lu Bu. The following years have not been easy.
heard?
Betrayals, insults, but they will see I am not done. Everyone will yet know my glory.
Heard. Got
You
it.
have risen in defiance of Cao Cao, but he has returned from his campaign and surely intends to suppress your insurrection.
Cao Cao is weak, like Yuan Shao and all the rest. He lacks the strength to claim the throne.
Be that as it
Oh,
may,
I see. Here, hold on.
he fields a considerable army. Your first move should be to find a defensible position. Yet a protracted siege of Chen will not work to your advantage either. Plague and famine have ravaged the supplies. It may be impossible to defend.
What can be done then? Defeat him in open battle?
Perhaps. His flanking force approaches. If you defeat them, then it will give you the opportunity to retreat north and regroup.
Cao Cao will know my fury in time. They all will. Soon the warrior without equal will prove that his might is beyond even that of the Emperor.
The direction that they've chosen for the voice actor for Lu Bu is... This is not necessarily a reference that you're going to remember. It's distinctly like Cassandra Pentagast.
That's a
from-
Dragon Age.
Yes, yeah. If you remember the like short-haired butch who's interrogating Varric and is like the frame story for Dragon Age 2, she's like, "That's not how it happened." when Hawk defeated the dragon and everything. Ooh, stream now has an echo after
I have
scene
resolved
change.
it. I changed the scene because I
Great.
realized that the top right, where all the subtitles were for that, was specifically out of frame. And so I have just kind of been dialing it in a little bit to get it all
Great.
locked in. There we go. Paddington, if there's a dead pixel, I'm sorry that happened. All right, and let's see. Let's open up this audio. Show subtitles. Got them.
Yay!
There we go. There we go. All right. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Help videos. Faction breakdown. Okay.
The thing I will probably not be able to do is use my knowledge to help you actually win fights. But if we dial the difficulty down and, you know,
We don't need to worry about winning fights. We have Lu Bu.
Worthless warriors should all be thanking me. I rid them of that tyrant, the one who called himself my father. I thrust my spear into his belly and ended his treason. But now I am hated and hunted. No matter. They will all see in time. I am already a warrior without
Gotcha.
equal.
I get it. I get it, bud.
Now I must
All right. So this is the screen we're going to be looking at a lot while we're kind of talking here. The Three Kingdoms games are kind of like my bread and butter when it comes to strategy games. I really love them. Am I good at them? Not necessarily, but this game has a lot that makes me good at them. So these guys are hidden in the trees over here. Our crew is over here in the trees. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select my whole crew, have them kind of flank up here in different trees, and Lubu ride in alone in the front because he's
Great.
Lubu. And so one thing I always do is I wait to see if we can get any eyes on anybody. Because they're right now hidden in those trees. And we're just kind of watching to see. There we go. They are moving forward. Their army's going to get tired as they walk. I will not, because I'm standing perfectly still. Once
Incredible.
they break through that tree line, I'm going to fuck up their whole shit. Which is...
So, a backstory of part of what gets us to this point is at the very beginning of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, there is
Everyone wants to talk. You're clear.
engaging in single comment. There are these eunuchs who are controlling the court of the emperor and controlling the emperor and honestly controlling the Han Empire and taking advantage of it. They are taking advantage of the people and the wealth and the taxation and everything. And it is miserable for everyone involved. It is, whenever there's a famine and it's like, no, we need all of your resources for the capital and everything. It's like, no, but all these farmers are going hungry and everything. So, in response to the abuses of the 10 eunuchs, there is what is called the Yellow Scarves Rebellion or the Yellow Turbans Rebellion, which is a widespread people's movement with some Taoist underpinnings that is just trying to say we have had enough of this. We cannot take this anymore. And it's really the 10 eunuchs. I mean, obviously there's going to be other problems with tax collection and, all taxes invariably fall upon the workers, as Leo Tolstoy would say. But we did such a good job with that. I'm wow. We got a Skyrim third person.
Move.
I think that's if you have a two-handed warhammer in Skyrim, you get that one where you. Anyways,
I know what you're talking about. We have Zhao Hao Dun here. Do I release him or do I execute him?
He's not going to join us. I mean, okay, do we want to role play as Lubu?
I think we need to role play as Lubu.
Okay. The thing is, Lubu is given the reputation of being this hothead, but part of why I think he's so interesting is he is actually significantly more gracious. And the fact that when he is gracious to people, it is never rewarded is how he dies. I'm going to say we release.
Okay. He's saying, if you spare me, I will return to take my vengeance upon you. And
okay.
We'll get $200, which
in
is
that
fine.
case,
That
case, let's execute.
Let's execute.
Let's execute.
Heard. Zhao Hao Dun is one of Cao Cao's guys, right?
Yeah, let's.
Hell yeah.
If
Leave none thirsting for vengeance.
All right, and then we captured troops. We only lost 8 people. I want more money.
Let them go.
Oh, you don't want. I was just we get movement points back, and we could try to do more in the same.
We're still just in the
turn.
kind of beginning area here. Let's see here. Left here.
Hunger has left our supplies depleted and our forces weakened.
Recruit and maintain a total of 12 units at the start of a new turn. Okay.
Cool.
So I'm gonna do the kind of I'm not gonna make us get too deep into the management stuff here. So while I do that, you can continue running the show.
Okay. So abuses of the eunuchs, poor state for the workers. Workers rebellion. Worker rebellion is against the Mandate of Heaven Han Empire, right? So
I've heard of it.
there is a kind of open, people who can put down this rebellion are encouraged to put together an army. And you have all these little warlords who are rising up to save the nation state. And that's how you have the rise of basically all of the characters who are in the first act of the story. This is where you have the Peach Garden. The Peach Garden Oath is like almost immediately. I always thought before reading the Romance of the Three Kingdoms that it was going to be this like really pivotal part, like in the middle or near the end of the story. No, it is like the first chapter. You have the Yellow Scarves Rebellion, and then the need to suppress the rebellion, the need to like reclaim order. And so many people, including Cao Cao with his army, Dong Zhuo with his army, Yuan Shao, etc., and Liu Bei, alongside Lord Guan and Zhong Fei, have this Peach Garden Oath. They will be as brothers. They swear to die on the same day, and they do some like fun, valiant stuff, suppressing this rebellion and people who are trying to take advantage of the rebellion and everything. Dong Zhuo, having an army relatively close to the capital, once things are peaceful, is kind of able to bring his army into the capital, sees the emperor, goes, well, there's two kids who could be the emperor. One's like a teenager, one's younger. I'm going to kill the older one because the younger one I can just keep under my thumb. Dong Zhuo is, the tyrant. Like, he's known as being... A lot of these guys are tyrants at different points in time, but Dong Zhuo is especially decadent of a tyrant in many ways.
He's like an especially bad dude.
Yeah, and he gets the strongest warrior in the land, Liu Bu, and is like, I'm adopting you as my son. And so that's why when Liu Bu talks about his father, or like the man who called himself my father, that's Dong Zhuo, the traitor, the tyrant, who everyone is like, we've gotta get rid of this guy. He's so awful. And so that trying to get rid of Dong Zhuo is Cao Cao and Liu Bei and a lot of other people who are interested in the long-term health and wellness of the emperor and of the Han dynasty.
Right.
Wang Yun is one of the people involved in the court who puts together this really clever strategy using Diao Chan, who we got to see briefly earlier there. She is kind of Liu Bu's love interest. It's a really interesting plot. It eventually gets Liu Bu to kill Dong Zhuo, but Liu Bu doesn't go, and now I should be the one controlling the emperor. It's like, no, I'm gonna go out and like fight who needs to be fought, and a bunch of different people kind of use him in different ways. Cao Cao and
he's like uniquely, what's the right way to say this? He does not have ambition in that same way that like Liu Bei does. This is not going well. They're sieging our city here, and they've scaled the walls. I'm just trying to figure out my best kind of option.
Were we supposed to just lose this city and just keep going north?
We very well might be.
Or
I'm trying to figure out the best way that I can not lose the city here.
Eventually, Cao Cao gets kind of his pride of place in the imperial court, but it isn't all-out war between people yet. Eventually, he starts getting really cocky about his position and like receiving accolades that should be meant for the emperor. Yeah, sorry, bud. Management's just not for me. I love the work too much.
It's honestly him.
It just, his aspirations are to be well respected and well regarded and to do good work and to be like treated well, not to be like, and my children will also be the emperor and my dynasty will outlast the Han, and it's a different sort of ambition. And so Cao Cao is getting too big for his britches, and a lot of people are noticing, and the child emperor as he's growing up is like, hey, I think it'd be good if somebody helped me get out from under the thumb of Cao Cao. And so there's this call for heroes and all these different things. But there's a really pivotal moment during one of these hunts with the like Emperor's Golden Arrow and all of these things happen. where Cao Cao clearly does something that is against protocol and like just very uncouth. He accepts a compliment that is meant for the emperor. And Lord Guan and Liu Bei are there. And Lord Guan is like, okay, I'm just going to go kill him right now.
I'm going to get him.
'Cause
That's it.
That's what's correct to do. And Liu Bei's like,
Your forces.
no, you're right, but no. Hold your sword for now. There'll be a better time and place. And then and then we get the next 40 years of like they're fighting as they go off into different places. Long over the course of a bunch of stuff, we've kind of left the first act now that Dongzhou is done, and now we start to see more from Liu Bei, which is eventually Cao Cao and Liu Bei are okay. We are antagonists towards one another. Cao Cao has significantly more in terms of force. Oh, are we looking for?
Oh yeah, so we have an option here. We can Cao Cao's presence is overwhelming. Like we just got our ass kicked and the outcome of the war is unclear. We could instead surrender and offer our services to Liu Bei, allowing us to gather our strength and strike against Cao Cao at a later date. So we could join Liu Bei, which would, we would become a vassal of Liu Bei. We'd gain financial support, which would make everything 50% cheaper, like so much cheaper. Or we could fight it out to the last breath and try to make this work.
So I like the follow the story idea because I think we could get more scripted things. But my like anti-Liu Bei stance, in part because eventually Cao Cao's allies have Liu Bei on the back foot, and he sent an army to this place where Liu Bei is. And Liu Bu is like, okay, you the leader of Cao Cao's army, and you, Liu Bei, come to my camp. And then he forces them both to sit down and drink. And he's like, listen, here's the deal. I'm going to set up my halberd out there, 200 meters. I'm going to take my bow and arrow. I'm going to hit the little blade on the back of the halberd with my arrow. And if I do, you're going to both call off fighting each other.
You're going to fucking chill.
And if you don't agree with this, whoever doesn't agree with this, I'm going to side with the other guy and ride out and beat your army. And so he forces a peace which saves Liu Bei's life. And Liu Bei completely betrays him so much later on. And so I'm going to say, let's continue fighting.
Let's
break the story.
Worth 1,000 needs no help from a pacifist like Liu Bei. So, this is us right here. I have no idea where you should go though, because I will admit the province geography is not something that I have put the study into. So I wish there was a way the thing about if we became a vassal with Liu Bei that would have gotten us peace with Cao Cao. I'd be like, can we get peace with Cao Cao without Liu Bei? I think, and here's the thing, we can try. We can legit try. We can work at this. I don't need quiet. I don't need this. All right, here we go. Strength is superior to mine. They are unlikely to have the will or ability to hurt you. They pose a minor threat. So we can work on negotiating with Cao Cao. Peace with Cao Cao. Never, that's -60. All right. Trade and marriage. If I say non-aggression pact, that's even worse. Okay. We have extra money right now. We have equal money. We have equal food.
I would say let's recruit some forces and then maybe take on some of these other folks nearby. And then once we're on equal footing, Cao Cao might.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I might move and try to become homies with Zhang. Is that Zhang Yang up there? There is a
Zhang Yang.
Yang.
Pick up I think. Do we currently have a city at all? Did we lose?
We lost our city. I'm about to get another one.
Great. I think that would be a priority.
This is my idea. Is I'm going to. Oh, we do. We have this one here.
Okay.
Right. Shh, quiet. So we can upgrade some of our buildings. Upgrade and downgrade. We will do that. We'll spend money on that. We'll send our homies into there.
Before they embark on a long march
And then let's
into
recruit.
enemy territory. A newly recruited unit will report
This guy,
Can tick my
you
fan
can.
up one tick.
I need to turn off those tooltips.
Mhm.
They're so excited.
Is my fan audible, by the way?
No, it is not.
Okay, great.
All right, let's
Fantastic.
see. Time of day, show AI player moves, timeless characters, audio, graphics. I don't know how to turn off the tooltips. That's fine.
Let's see if I've got any
Advice.
poems that
There
I
we
could be
go.
reading.
Text only. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to recruit. We have random guy here with us, the Chancellor. Chancellor rolls in with some bows and arrows there. We have some heavy guys here. I think we need a third unit. So we can promote somebody up to run a unit for us.
I love the idea of being like, Diao-chan, come be a general. I mean, I'm here for it. I don't know how skilled she is compared to.
She's a legendary.
She's a legendary
character.
strategist.
Yeah, she will rock some archers, which we already have archers. I'm kind of looking at this right here, legendary sentinel, which will get us some shields, some archers. This guy is kind of an all round. He does not
Yeah,
like
trust
the
your
other
instinct.
general in my army though. And Dao-chan, chill, does not have those complaints.
Do you think that you are good enough at the tactics that if we got Diao-chan, we could not have a game over?
Yeah.
For harmony.
No matter what, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna say yes. So
I'm leaving the military management up to you.
and that is fair.
In a vacuum, I'd be like, okay, so what we need is infinite archers and then Lubu, so that the archers can just pick off everyone, and then Lubu just goes and kills
Yeah,
the general.
the reason we lost the last fight is because we didn't have Lubu. Like, that was what went wrong. Let's grab one of these freaks. Okay. We are
I
gonna.
also think losing that siege is kind of semi-scripted.
I agree with you, but
I would
I
guess.
just, I'm like, I could have done it. I could have won.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So Lubu has a special thing called momentum, where the more fights we win in a row, the stronger we are going to be, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, we're gonna sit here for a second.
And that's one reason when we win a fight, I also think instead of like doing the captives stuff, we can get our momentum, get our movement points to get like multiple fights, even potentially in the same turn. What I think of as very like Scarbrand style thing in Total War Warhammer 3.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna kind of roll up in here, and I could delegate this so the AI would handle it, which is nice. I think I could.
The good news is the loading screens are pretty fast, and I've got stuff I can talk about during the loading screens. So
There we go. Then I'll
For
get in there.
instance-
Miles upon us. Let us not squander opportunity.
Okay. Yeah.
Lubu called for a last round of wind, then he called for his bow. Liu secretly prayed for his success. Lubu threw back his sleeve, fitted an arrow to the string, and drew the bow full stretch. Hit, he cried as he shot. From a bow drawn wide as the full-orbed moon, an arrow sped like a shooting star. A perfect hit! Round the camp the commanders cheered. A poet has left these lines of admiration. With an immortal shot, one rarely seen on Earth, Lubu saved the day at the war camp gates. A marksman to shame Ho Yi, downer of 9 sons, and bidding fair to outclass Yang Yuji. Tiger thewed, he drew till the bowstring groaned. Hawk feathered, the flying dart struck home. The leopard tail quivered on the halberd haft. 100,000 men untied their gear. Because like the armies are there. Wow, Lubu has emerged victorious.
Yep. Just
In the time it took me to read.
I simply rolled up on them, declared a duel, and killed a guy in one fucking shot. My crew rolled
This
through.
is, I think,
We wiped them.
the ideal sequence of events is you go to a battle, I read a poem, and as I read the poem, you've defeated the guy. A great rhythm.
We killed I think. Let's see. Let's. God, his ass. All right.
Opportunities will arise.
Lost 5.
Woo.
They lost 26. They have 35 people there. All right. So, talk to me.
None of these people ever like us, do they? Friends and rivals. Who's their green friend?
Zhao Dun.
Okay.
I believe we
Who-
just killed, didn't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
and
Rival Lu Bu.
us. We are the rival.
Ooh, and if we kill him, we get his spear.
Yeah. I mean, do we already? We might not technically have our like legendary spear.
I would check, but also we get 200 income if we release him, and that would help our treasury, which is we're running at a negative at the moment. So I think
I trust your instincts.
you're gonna release.
I don't. Yeah. Mhm.
And then you said maintain momentum.
I think maintain. So our fatigue in battle is going to be tired or worse, but we get. I don't know how much movement we've used up.
I think we've used
Do
up
you know
all
how
of
much,
it. We
like-
we went to the
Okay.
we went to our home we built, and then we ran over here. So I think this is.
I'm like maintain momentum. Yeah. Let's.
Ally with the strong, and you
I'm-
will survive.
Oh. What they lack in familiar warmth, they make up with marital synergy. Unlocked by defeating Zhao Dun with your faction leader. Unlocked by. Cool. So
carry on with our friend.
we killed them.
Have
That's
some
great.
prestige.
I'm just gonna keep the pressure on and just keep chasing them down until I
So-
kill all of them.
I think typically in a Total War game, if somebody runs away from you and you fight them a second time, that kills them. Though I don't know if that's true in romance mode of Total War.
I'm gonna
3.
delegate
I
this
am
one.
certainly not nice. I assume delegates like auto battle.
It is, and because of that,
Or-
okay, we didn't lose anybody, which is nice. Decisive victory, maintain momentum.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
For order.
keep on you, dude.
Once
Oh,
we
never mind, they're
maintain
gone.
momentum once, it doesn't look like we get an extra penalty. So Hulao Pass, very famous battle. Or honestly, I will let you pick where we go, but I would say let's try to get in another fight this
Okay.
round.
Do you want me to lay siege on a city of Cao Cao's, or do you want me to try to take Hulao Pass? Wait, aggressive act that could lead to war. I'm already kind of getting fucked up by Cao Cao, so I'm happy to fight him. Who is this guy? Who's that's Lu Xie. Lu Xu. I don't.
Les Jeux. I'm open-ended. I'm a little worried that if we just like we'll end up going back and forth with Cao Cao.
Yeah.
If in sieges in this game, do we have to like hit end turn before we can actually attack in? Is
No, because
Lubu
we
a-
have
a
momentum
siege
right
attacker? Okay. I think let's go either to
now. Oh, but we
kind
don't
of
have any
forward to the
siege
left or
equipment.
forward to the right?
We don't have any siege equipment. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let's
So
run back
Lubu
home.
doesn't count as a siege attacker on his own.
No.
Okay.
And you can take cities without siege shit, but it's just one of those things that
Mm-hmm.
it will be significantly easier for us if we do this. So I'm gonna pop here. He's probably gonna come
Mm-hmm.
around this corner here, and then we can try to head him off the pass, and then push our way back, take Chen or take Suyang, and try to figure that out.
I trust your instincts. Let's
We-
keep going.
We gotta find a homie. All right, you are
In-
clear to speak.
In in the Total War Warhammer games, your legendary lord
Mm-hmm.
is frequently a siege attacker on their own, in addition to like other siege weapons and stuff. So you
That's
just
awesome.
have, you know, I'm the vampire king.
A cunning scheme. All right.
Bad news. One of your messengers kneels before you, trembling whilst handing over a missive. My lord, we are the victims of a most deceitful plot. We have no idea who enacted the scheme against us. I wonder if there's like a
I wonder
person
if
we're
there's
at
like
war
the
with who does
deceitful plot
devious
guys.
schemes.
Jesus Christ.
An owl to seek an owl. Okay.
25% redeployment cost, so it is more expensive
Okay.
for us now. All right, Commander Vassal, Gokon to war. Yan Shao's
Great.
doing stuff. Liu Bei's doing stuff.
Come wrong.
Okay.
Smooth.
Han Empire declared war by Yang Feng. Okay,
Okay.
Shao. Okay. Uncharacteristically takes a pause. Growing might. We've completed that mission, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Cao Cao learns a lesson in humility. Leeches
Destroy
like
the following factions. Okay.
Okay, so that is my long-term want, is to destroy him. And then I want to reach faction rank. So I want to gain up in faction rank. I want people to like me. So in order to do that, let's start by, first off, let's check out our court.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, we have Luigi as our faction heir. We have our one chancellor. All these other positions are locked right now because we're too small right now. That is a-okay. Reforms. Do we have any reforms we could trigger?
Sadly, I think the Riverlands in the south are probably too far away from where we currently are to try to
I could start
do
moving that way.
diplomacy
is the
with
thing.
them.
Like, I could start trying to figure that out. Because, like,
I mean,
south, I want to go...
I think the answer might be we just try to bulldoze through Cao Cao, and that's our focus for this.
I'm okay
But
with that. I'm down to try.
I trust your instinct and direction because there's interesting things basically anywhere we go.
I'm gonna try to become friends with this gentleman right here.
Great.
I'm just gonna say, like, hey,
Because Lupu isn't someone who's just like, I see another man on a horse, I must kill him. Like, he's not that guy. There are guys who are like that in the story. Most of them don't stick around for very long for pretty obvious reasons. It would also be fun if we just went and destroyed all of the Shu. If we went and just like, okay, we're gonna one-on-one Lord Guan. We're gonna one-on-one Zheng Fei.
we can go do that. I'm just right now. I'm just like trying to get on better terms with the people around me. Oh, here we go. What do you think about me? What if we non-aggression pact, and then on top of that, can I coerce? I can coerce him a little bit by spending my momentum to get the non-aggression pact with a.
Oh yeah, I'd say let's do it, even though we're unlikely to be fighting them. Maybe our non-aggression pact can grow into
a friendship,
something else. Yeah.
Caution must temper passion for now.
Oh, they need food. Okay, hold on. Sorry, I do like doing this a little bit. This is the part of these games that I do enjoy. We're just like, hey, how much food do I have?
Wolves needs food badly.
What?
Does that scan?
What did you just say?
Okay, so from the Gauntlet video game, you're familiar with like Gauntlet, right?
Yeah.
Gauntlet Legacy, yeah. And if
needs food
if you're like running a
badly.
tournament, you need to put
Yes, okay. I understand now.
A reference that I mostly learned from here's a little peek into my backstory. I was really into Five Iron Frenzy.
Yo, the Canadian ska band?
Yeah. And they have a song called The Wizard Needs Food Badly, which is a reference to the Gauntlet thing.
Okay, we are going to kind of warm up to attack, and we're going to charge and take that city back.
Very bold.
Let us talk.
Okay, Lubao. All right. Oh, a mercenary contract against He. I'll take that money, actually. Yeah, right?
Sure.
Like, how big are they?
They're there.
Well, where?
Oh.
Here.
There.
I can't fully click on them.
I would say let's accept it and let's see if
I'll take a guide here. So we'll see where we need to go, and we'll just stomp over there, fuck them up. And I might send money to Cao Cao and try to be like, hey, we're chill. Because I would like to stop being targets of schemes. Okay, fulfill the contract. Yes. Yes.
defeat at least one of their things.
Okay, character killed. Hao Meng is killed.
Wow.
A treacherous underling has rebelled against me.
I think that's what the treacherous scheme against us was, like turning one of our underlings.
All right, we just need to.
So where is He?
Oh, I'm gonna find him in a moment. I'm just gonna try to like.
You dare show your face?
I do. I just am like. I feel like we could do something here, buddy. You're rich in food.
So
yeah.
In retrospect, I should have been like, okay, can we find a mod that lets us just teleport around the map? And
No.
just like 1v1. And then I can just tell you about each character as we.
Great
as we
news
knock
about the
them down a
next
bit.
game we're going to play.
Oh, great, yeah.
It's specifically what Dynasty Warriors
It's-
is gonna kind of feed us a
It
little
is a good
more.
point. It is a good point.
Trade agreements, more income from commerce, income from
But yeah,
peasantry.
part of Liu Bei, the like erstwhile like protagonist,
Mhm.
is that he's quote an imperial uncle. He shares the surname with and is hypothetically kind of an offshoot of the imperial line of the Han dynasty. And to his betrayal of the Bu and his general like betrayal of good values, despite being the character of like, wow, aren't his values great? Isn't he so noble and brave? Because like the story really wants you to root for him. It is casting all of the things he does in as positive a light as possible. He's booked towards this. All of the stuff that the Tiger Generals and especially Lord Guan do to like be like, no, I can't betray anything because my lord Liu Bei is so noble. All of that stuff. But the guy himself doesn't live up to that. He may go like, oh, I don't want to take extra power. Oh, I don't want. But whenever he has power that he's borrowed from someone, he never gives it back. Whenever someone has done him a good turn, he makes sure he has a reputation for always being like gracious and lenient and everything. But he doesn't actually help people out. And so it has this ring of falseness. And when I see like an imperial uncle trying to like be a cool guy, but is actually not one, I'm like, oh, like in Hamlet.
It's just like Hamlet.
And this, I think, gets me to one of the big takeaways from my reading of Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which is directly or indirectly, so much of what we experience in popular culture of the last 800 years is like parts of Romance of the Three Kingdoms are in that. In the same vein, possibly as like Homestuck made this world. You know what I mean? It is a piece of work that is connected to all these things. Just like Homestuck made this world. Here's another poem. The next day, Xuande, Liu Bei, Lord Guan, and Zhongfei
Quick
went
pause.
to Longzhong.
Before we get into that,
We're a gift horse.
an escorted caravan approaches and you recognize banners of your current employer. Perhaps they harbor doubts of your loyalties and seek reassurance of your continued support. An envoy is brought before you as men unload chests from the baggage train. Humbly, he bows and asks what his lord may offer you in light of your services. Careful not to let your anticipation show, you peruse the treasures laid before you. Money is always good. Fame and fortune would treat us well because we do want kind of respect here. We could get
ancillary.
that's
an item?
Yeah, it's an item that we can add onto one of our generals. Or we could take both. Louis' fame and fortune.
I'm tempted toward. I think. You know our money situation best. That seems like a big amount of money given the numbers that we are dealing with.
It is a big amount of money. That is absolutely
I think mathematically the money is in our favor.
true.
I think respectfully declining if we do need to get our fame up long term. I don't know if more fame and fortune could help us diplomatically long term.
It very well could, but more money
If
will
money
help us
gets us
not
to a
die.
better armor, then yeah, if that's what helps us not die.
Yeah, I think that's the move. So we are just slowly moving across the countryside here.
We got to build our momentum up, and we got to just do like a chain of battles through.
That's the hope. Once we hit
through
down
some
here, I'm
guys.
just gonna kind of smash through
Tell us your
this guy's
thoughts.
army. All right, I am not gonna pay you. So many times you'll get a diplomatic proposal, and they're like, "Hi, can you give me $250 and I won't hit you?" And I'm like, "I'm Lubu. You weren't going to hit me."
Jay points out that we should look that gift horse in the mouth.
You're so right,
Just-
Beastie. Can I like hire spies or something to counter spy here? Okay, here we go. You host two friends for dinner who, between meals, engage in lively discussion about the nature of loyalty. One argues that loyalty to one's lord is the very purpose of life, whilst the other posits that heaven demands our loyalty and the heaven is above any one man. They talk and you listen. Do I agree with Cao Tsing or Gao Shun? Loyalty or duty?
Dutiful.
They're just gonna make our relationship better with one of these guys. And right now they both don't mind us.
Sharpshooter and formation breaker.
Oh, this guy's better. This guy's
He's
got
level 3.
legendary. to his
Yeah,
name,
let's do it.
And you don't. There we go. Okay. We are about to close in on the haters.
I'm gonna be honest and say that Leboot is not necessarily the most dutiful or the most loyal. He's got kind of different ideals than those two things.
Mhm.
Salt.
I will also say that even though loyalty is ascribed as a virtue,
Mm-hmm.
there are multiple characters, especially Liu Bei, the kind of erstwhile protagonist of the story, who, by rejecting duty and instead embracing loyalty, by rejecting what his mission should be, which
Oh.
is focus on Cao Cao, ooh, the Master Archer.
Lu Bu
Yeah,
intervenes
here's-
in an argument between officials. He pushes them apart and grabs a bow from a nearby soldier. A halberd is set up over 150 paces away, and Lu Bu declares that if he is to hit the left branch of it, all will disperse. It happens, inspiring presence.
I think this might be a scripted event to give us this that's supposed to happen if we if we followed this story and became Liu Bei's vassal.
Be open.
And maybe it would have
And-
listed his name if we did, but
Hmm.
it doesn't.
And it may have even given us an opportunity to then like break off
Mm-hmm.
from Liu Bei. So we could have followed that. But we can only follow our own path. But the idea for Liu Bei that his duty should be to saving the emperor, deposing the would-be emperor Cao Cao, and like focusing on the mission. But instead, when Lord Guan, spoilers, eventually does die, although like even that's not necessarily technically true because his ghost does a lot of stuff after he
His
dies.
ghost does a
Uh,
lot. The Emperor talking about Qui-Gon Jinn.
I mean,
Lay them low.
like, you could certainly say this about like Obi-Wan. Like,
Mhm.
if Obi-Wan
Come
didn't
on.
say use the Force in Luke's ear, would Luke have destroyed the first Death Star? If Obi-Wan didn't say go to Dagobah in Luke's ear, would Luke have found Yoda and been trained to be a Jedi? You know what I mean? Like there's, I think ghosts. What is a
Mhm.
ghost but a parasite of memory, as Jack DeKey would say. A ghost is kind of a parasite of memory. That's a quote from a Let's Play of a Pokemon game that I designed. It's a fun. That's why I remember that quote so well. It's about the confusion status.
That was
Uh,
very cool, dude. When I'm like, hey, I know that person. Okay. The Emperor has escaped. Good for them.
So by abandoning his duty to fight Cao Cao and instead being like, no, I'm gonna march against Wu who killed Lord Guan, he dies. Spoilers. All of the characters die by the end of the story. At the end of the story, there's no one alive who was around at the very beginning of the story because it takes place over multiple generations of time.
Oh.
A general of unknown integrity, but insignificant skill. They cannot be allowed to taste even a hint of victory. Crush their dreams now, that they might know just who it is they face.
I
Okay.
like her. This is not in character for her, but I like it.
I am going to do this pretty chill. We're just going to pretty much walk directly forward and kill them.
Great. I love that. So, this idea that Liu Bei's big antagonist is Cao Cao, but he doesn't actually go and fight against him, and instead he fights against a bunch of other people, feeds into one of my other kind of theories or theses about the story, which is Liu Bei stops Lord Guan from killing Cao Cao, and then Liu Bei's brothers like consistently let Cao Cao away when they could take him out. And it feels very, very like kayfabe to me. Like these guys just agreed, oh, we're enemies. I need to defeat that guy. That's why I have that's why I have these 100,000 troops. That's why I have these 600,000 troops. That's why I need to occupy this territory and this territory and this territory. It's because I need to defeat that guy. And the other one's going, this is why, like, they're doing the same thing, but then they're just conquering all of the other little states and taking territories and, like, borrowing from the allies. Like, oh, you know, come make peace with me and be a part of my army so I can defeat that guy. And, like, accumulating power until you have all of these different little warlords, all of these different little potential states, all of these different places where people are trying to make peace or just like order or a sense of stability after all of these wars. And instead you have these warlords come in and be like, oh, but I've got to fight against the other one. It's very kayfabe. It's very 20th century Western politics in places of most of the world. There's a lot of this sort of thing. And so, you know, the idea of interpreting this story through wrestling, I think, is 100% reasonable.
And specifically, not only just kayfabe wrestling, but like the like dynamics that happen behind the scenes is interesting to me. And like the idea of like one of my favorite jokes from this little script that I put together is the Yellow Turban Rebellion changing to a Yellow Flare Rebellion on the Backyard Wrestling forums is really funny to me. And like working through it that way, I don't know, man. I just think Backyard Wrestling so fucking funny, dude.
And I think in wrestling you could easily have, okay, here's a bunch of people with vague little alliances between each other, and then slowly a few people start like gathering. It's like, oh, suddenly all 5 of us are working for one guy, and all 5 of us are working for another. Like, slowly you see that accumulation of power, and how there's no reason that the guys who have power are better than like who deserve that, if that makes sense. And then, I mean, one of the other things is after the main tiger generals are gone, after Cao Cao is gone, after Liu Bei is gone, there's still like a whole extra act of the book left. That there's a lot of time and a lot of chapters and a lot of characters and a lot of weird stuff that happens during this state where there are 3 kingdoms that are kind of have a stronger self-identity, but are like the next generation of everyone. And in each of those, people are plotting and betraying and doing everything, but everybody seems really hollow and kind of juvenile. And it's like, oh, none of you are the great legendary heroes. Can we gift to mercen? Can we do? I like the big number there. It's a big number.
That's a very big
Would
number.
the city help us?
It helps us move more south. We could frankly give up our higher city and just keep using this as an excuse to get more south, because that's where you want to be. If we occupy. However, $4,300 is crazy. And I could also then take all of that and then just take another city for me.
Yeah, I would say, like, let's play this in what's frequently called in these sort of games like horde mode, where we are just like traveling through devastating stuff. We are not managing the cities. We are.
I like that.
Because whoever we give the city to, hopefully will like us enough.
Yeah.
And that's one way of.
Lu Bao. And then so he is over there. He is over there. And Wanshu. So we are going to attack them next and just begin to move in that direction.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
So when the next generation is there, and they all seem like children, realistically, even when they're adult men, and some of them know what they're doing, and some of them believe that they're legendary heroes, but they all seem like you're just a pale shadow of the previous generation who did feel like legendary heroes at the time.
I am fully forsaking this area. We are totally going to get another city.
If we need to, we can always fight our way back north, right? Like,
absolutely.
Bro, you just hired us to take someone out for you. Why
He gave us $4,000 and was like, "Can I have $2,000 for that? And I won't fight you." And it's like, dude, you're not. That's the in character of why he's not getting that next city. You know what I mean?
When you were a freshman in high school, did the seniors in your high school feel like
they were 40?
I don't know. Like larger than life, like they were full, like they've got everything figured out, they've got so clear like archetypes or whatever, and then as each year goes by and as you get into like junior senior year, it's like, wow, the legendary heroes are gone and we're all just like pale imitations of the people who were once here. It does make you go, though, by the end of the story you say, wait a minute, probably none of these people were legendary heroes. This is putting lie to the idea that anyone was ever good.
This is going to be a proper challenging battle. We're pretty neck and neck here. So I'm going to try to talk through my thought process as we do this, because this is going to be one that we actually have to like strategize for.
I have so much faith in your abilities.
And you are my other. You're also here. The two of us together. It's a storm. What deployables do we have?
Like Diao-chan, I'm here for moral support and maybe occasional strategy. Try flanking. That's a good trick.
First off, we're gonna try to wear them out. We are gonna.
This is also, I think, to me, one of the important parts of the analysis of something like A Song of Ice and Fire, where you say, oh, wow, after Robert Baratheon is gone, everybody seems like just squabbling amongst each other, politics. Why doesn't anybody respect who should be rightfully heir? It shouldn't be Joffrey or whatever. It should be, his son or one of his brothers or Loras or Stannis or whatever. But it's like, oh, wait, Robert Baratheon doesn't come from a long line of kings.
He just got here.
Yeah, Jaime Lannister killed the king. It's very... I think Jaime Lannister is, while certainly different from Libu in some very particular regards, I think he's based on Libu. Like, I genuinely think Jaime Lannister is based on Libu.
As like he is frankly a great man of history coded, you know what I mean? Like, right?
And like he worked for the previous king and was the one who killed the previous king. And so people are like, we're really glad that someone killed the previous king, but technically we are going to hold it against you that you betrayed the previous king.
That wasn't a cool thing to do, mister.
We were too much of a coward or not a good enough fighter to do it ourselves, but we are going to hold it against you that you did this good thing for everyone. And like that, I think is a really useful, thing to be pulling from, to be working from, because these characters are larger than life, and because this story has been told by so many people and has such a big like literary impact, so many of the characters, we see reflections of them in 20th century and 21st century works. We've not talked yet about one of my least favorite characters, who wouldn't be that much my least favorite characters, except he's many people's absolute favorite character from all of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Fascinating.
Who is Kong Ming or Zhuge Liang. He is Liu Bei's strategist. He is Sleeping Dragon or Crouching Dragon in his Taoist name. He's the one. For any Magic Gathering fans in the audience, not only does he have his own card, Kong Ming, also 3 visits, the one in a green like ramp card that gets you a forest. That card is originally a Portal 3 Kingdoms card about the fact that Liu Bei, this like imperial heir and uncle, this like guy who has all of these armies, has to show up 3 different times to Kong Ming's house to get him to finally join. Kong Ming's like, oh, sorry, I was asleep. What do you need?
All right.
He's the I'm so very, very smart. He's like, lots of characters who are these brilliant tacticians, and how fun it is to read a story where somebody has these brilliant tactics and they outplay the enemy and they out-anticipate, and they're just always the smartest clever boy forever and forever and forever. That gives us, sleepy tactician characters like Shikamaru from Naruto or like Linhardt from Fire Emblem Three Houses. But in a very real way, even characters like Ender Wiggin from Ender's Game, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like any story where you are reading it and you're like, wow, our protagonist is really like outthought and outplayed all of these other things. Even like a Danny Ocean in some ways.
Okay.
Or maybe like a Rusty Ryan. A little bit more than Danny Ocean. Danny Ocean, Liu Bei. Rusty Ryan from the Ocean's 11 movies, that's a Kong Ming sort of character. The like, oh, I'm gonna be in this perfect place in this perfect time. He's also can do like wizardry stuff. He makes, at very specific points in time, he goes and does rituals to make the wind blow a particular direction.
I thought you were still talking about Danny Ocean, and I was like, I don't know if that one's true. I don't think he does do that. Okay, so we got these guys come out here. You are fighting them. You guys are gonna come around there, fight them. You are coming around for flanking. Because one of the things about about Total War is it's a morale game, right? So what I want to do is I want to try to get my guys to slowly kind of wrap around and eat the other team. And on top of that,
frequently in these games they recommend what is often called a like hammer and anvil strategy, where you have your infantry or whatever in kind of a brick or a line of an anvil, and then you have cavalry or general or like stronger, faster armies to smash the enemy's army onto your anvil.
That makes sense.
If they're already fleeing, it seems like we might have the morale game one.
Like, so we're losing. So some of their guys are leaving. Oh, look, they're fighting together as a team. Oh, how cute. Those guys are still coming out of the woods. All right, this is going to be rough down here. I should have the back line here begin to provide firing support.
I think we could probably spend a whole stream talking about like the homosociality of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms and the occasional like moments of compet, but also it's a great way to see an example of, okay, part of the historical purpose of marriage in terms of like patrilineal families is saying, hey, other guy, I want to make sure that like we can trust each other, because we don't trust each other, but we have enough other enemies that we don't really want to be fighting each other. Why don't I send you my daughter, and either you can marry her or your son can marry her, and then we just like, we know that we probably won't try to kill each other so that we can focus on all of our other enemies. And like that as a kind of binding historical reason for heterosexual marriage amongst many other concepts. One reason why I do like Zhao Zilong, Zhao Yun, of all of the Tiger Generals, of all of the Shu Han side, is because he's the guy who's like, listen, these women are cool or whatever, but I am not interested. I do not need this.
Alright, here we go. So he's roaming into our archers. We currently have the upper hand here in a very real way, which is nice. Drop some caltrops. Y'all, we need to come around this side here.
Oh, we're fighting the Yellow Turbans. I
Try to
didn't even
circle
realize.
More around. Goes in there. Lubei, I need you, or Lubu, I need you to kill that guy. Rest of the crew outside of him, move up here and provide fire support. All right, if you don't want to duel me, that's fine. But I will be. Oh, he's routing. He's routing. That's awesome.
One of my favorite excerpts about Zhao Zilong. In the first place, Zilong answered, marrying my brother's sister-in-law would provoke contempt after he died.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, it is her second marriage. I would be causing her to forsake the life of chastity proper to a widow. And thirdly, it's not easy to read the intentions of someone who has just surrendered. Lord Liu has just taken control of the area around the Jiang and Han rivers, and he is preoccupied with the difficult situation. How could I put aside my lord's great cause for the sake of a woman? Today, our cause is secure, Liu Bei said. I can arrange for you to marry this woman. What do you say? The world is full of women, said Zilong. I seek fame, not a wife. Zilong, said Liu Bei, you are indeed manly.
Fellas.
It's like,
All right.
yeah, Zhao Zilong, he should hang out with Zhou Yu from the Navy, who's still in the Navy, and wait, no, Zhao Zilong, who never had time for a wife. That was the bit that I was trying to get to.
All right, we
Call him Google Maps the way he's routing.
look
Haha,
at
is very
that.
funny.
749 lost on their side. We took out half of them. Fame and fortune going up. We love that. He'd rather die than betray his cause. I want his sickle to give to my girlfriend. Oh, yeah.
Does she need it?
No, but... yeah.
I guess he doesn't have any friends or rivals. Yeah, we can execute.
And then maintain momentum. Because we'll push in and hit him again. Because he left his siege area to come attack us, which was a foolish thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have another cunning scheme. I know. Cao Cao's doing his thing. Eventually he'll get bored. We're getting away from him. Anshu declares his intentions.
Oh. He thinks that he'll be emperor. Well, I have bad news. The Yun family do stick around a surprising amount of time, and it's really interesting in the story how much this one guy further to the north is like, I'm the emperor, and he controls like a medium small area, not nothing, and then his brother controls the medium small area nearby, and it's like, okay, you're the emperor, and you have this one state, and for the most part, like most characters just ignore them for like chapters and chapters and chapters on end, and then eventually when they have a reason to have like made their way around in a big loop up to that area, it's like, oh yeah, because it's like, oh, and then the emperor is there. And it's like, how is the emperor there? The emperor, you know, like the teenager, like the emperor,
the baby?
He might be in his early 20s at this point. like the emperor? No, it's this guy who the main character for that story is the brother, not the guy who declared himself emperor, because they're both leaders of their districts. And so
Okay.
it's exceptionally silly and exceptionally foolhardy, I think, to say, I'm the emperor.
Okay, I'm not approaching that
I'm
hill. That
Count
seems
and Emperor von Damascus.
approaching that hill seems like a mistake. They have 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 4 archers. Actually, you know what? I think we can afford it. I think we can get in there. So here's what we're gonna do: slow down to a walk. We are gonna send our generals in to disrupt their arrow lines, which is already going to be huge. Our archers are then going to lay fire on those guys. Let's actually split them up. Bop, 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 bop. And then...
In the story,
Ooh.
most contests between two armies or two sides are decided by the generals going out and fighting each other.
Yeah. I'm going to get in there and try to
I don't know
do it.
how historically true that is, but in the story, that is the dominant and expected way for most fights between like active standing armies to go. The armies are there, their placement matters, but mostly what matters is that you have a really good general and you send out your general or your lieutenant or whatever against their lieutenant, depending on situations. And if your guy beats their guy, their army starts to run away. And if your army is big enough, you can try to take over their army.
Oh, he wants to
or kill
fight.
them.
He wants to go.
Incredible.
All right, and that means that now we can kick these guys into overdrive. Everyone else start to sprint, because Lubu is about to get the win. Bam.
One-man army.
Boom. Declared victorious. Now
I'm really
everyone-
glad we chose Lebu for this.
It does feel good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get in there. Everyone, riot them, rout them, rout them, rout them. You continue chasing. Y'all do your thing over there. Y'all just lay down fire and help clean them up. Thank you.
Well, a lot of the sort of glory of Lebu's legend and fights and conquests and everything are dramatized. In some ways, I do think specifically the relationship between Lebu and Liu Bei are, I'm going to keep saying erstwhile protagonist because it helps remember who is who. The big relationship between Liu Bei and Cao Cao, erstwhile protagonist, erstwhile antagonist, and Lu Bu is somewhat actually dictated by the real history, which is written down. And so the romance, the fantasy, the fictionalization of the story can really amplify a lot of the things that happened in between historical moments. But eventually, no matter how good someone is as a fighter, like, they die when they die.
Yeah.
And similarly, like, no matter how bad a ruler Cao Cao is, no matter how bad a general he is, he's not going to die until he dies at, like, 20 years later in the real life history. And so that's one reason why he constantly gets the Team Rockets blasting off again, running away to fight another day sort of story. Because it's like, well, in our script, he's booked to lose.
I want him to lose emotionally, but
in the history, he doesn't die until later. So we wrote the whole story, and it's really cool to see our heroes win. And then we have to fit in something right at the end. Because we can't kill him now, because we need him for... Which I think... I'm no expert in, especially specifically backyard wrestling, but there's got to be something around the role of, like, a jobber, like someone whose position is to always be booked to lose, basically, and something about ensuring that they are somewhat credible every time. Because like, listen, you're booked to lose this week. You're also booked to lose next week. And the audience has to kind of get it and like want to like cheer for the other guy to win. But like we can't just be and then you died. That can't be the storyline. Or it can't be like and you were escorted off the premises and are never allowed to return, because like you have to be around next week. So we have to book you to lose and then find a way to make sure that you're able to, for some reason, come back as a credible threat next time when you will also be booked to lose, and so on and so on.
Question for you. Should we take this challenge from the Emperor to kill Wanshu?
Yes. I think if Yonshu is nearby...
He is, and also we're now neighbors with our buddy.
Okay. Where are we?
We are here.
Right... Okay.
And I was going to keep moving
Yonshu's
forward to kick the ass of Hii and take their capital. However...
Do you think we have time to continue with our original plan and then deviate north?
I think we have
I have
time
no
to do
problem
that.
with us taking out Yuanshu. I think that's a fun, like, if nothing else, we can say we defeated the Emperor, quote unquote.
I want to take the
Mhm.
capital, and then I think we move over there. And by that time, we'll be probably ready to smash and grab with some Dynasty Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. You may continue.
Yeah, that's my wrestling booking allegory for everything.
For everything. Hell yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like there's really something there. And I just want to I want to figure it out. There's just also like the voice, the very like, frankly, reasonable voice in my head that goes like, now, Riley, do you think you should really be doing that? Is this a adaptation that you're really meant to do? And I go, no, I don't think so.
Listen, if you wanted to write a script for something that used these concepts, the thing that I worry about is not you adapting Romance of the Three Kingdoms, but you getting in a wrestling ring. We're all getting older.
No. I would never get back in the wrestling ring again. That is
okay.
that was high school, right? At least job. I
just wanted to make sure that that's not on the cards, because I think
the cards, the wrestling card. Wanshu has requested my aid to declare war.
Okay, so
against
didn't
Liu.
we just get a Imperial Commission to take out Yonshu?
Yeah, we did. I think we...
Okay.
And he's offering us financial support. Frankly, we are hemorrhaging money at a pretty major rate. However...
How close by is Liu Bei?
I can't minimize this, unfortunately. Liu Bei is closer to where we were than where we are. Wanshu's very close to us.
I wish we could somehow take this money. And do we only get the money if we...
No, we get the money, but then we have declared war on Liu Bei, and I have other things happening right now.
Yeah, but like... Okay, I'm going to say declare war on Liu Bei, and then let's go take out Yuanshu, unless... Is the financial support...
It has significant... We're not losing $2,000 a turn anymore. Now we're just losing $68 a turn.
Mm-hmm.
So we have declared war on Liu Bei. And we will handle that next. I'm currently fulfilling my mercenary contract. I have a job to finish, and I'll come deal with that in but a moment. Where is Liu Bei? Show. Bao Biao. Zhonglao. Where are you, Lu Bu?
Frequently, the Skaven warlord known as Queek Headtaker is described as the Alexander the Great of the Skaven. I think these mercenary contracts are very Deathmaster Snitch to me, but Lu Bu as a character, I think you could write a Queek Headtaker story where you're just taking this sort of stuff that Lu Bu is doing and just be like, and instead it's Queek Headtaker. You have Ska Bloodtail instead of the red hair, or instead of Diachen, take your pick as to who Ska Bloodtail represents, the horse or the wife.
Oh.
But there's something. War is bad.
But
Of all the things to beaten, war is bad. Mercenaries and mercenary armies, especially in the 21st century, private armies are somehow even worse than normal armies, which are some of the worst things, the worst thing in the world. Comma. In a in the fantasy setting of 2nd century warlord politics in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, ancient China, or similar sort of settings, the idea of just going around and not trying to claim territory for yourself, but just being asked and paid to go fight people, and then fighting them, and like frequently letting them go, sometimes killing them if they're like being kind of a butt about things, frequently letting them go. Like, that is, compared to trying to run your own empire, like a relatively laudable position, possibly.
It's very interesting that it's like clearly everyone is always like, hey, can we be in this? Can we be mixed up? Like, can we get Lu Bu to work with us? I'm not doing that. Pay me $2,000 and I won't hit you. You're not going to hit me.
Also, Kongrong, you are allied with Liu Bei, who A, we rejected to be the vassal of. B, you are going to be the vassal of, or you will be defeated. And C, I'm pretty sure we're at war with now.
Yep, we are at war with Liu Bei. And also, Cao Cao's no longer hitting us constantly with little shit left and right, which is very nice. I do like that. Let's see. Are you someone I need to worry about?
Which, this is, I think, while not strictly true to the events in the chronology of the story, true to the character of many of the people, where Lu Bu is like, okay, I'm gonna try to fight you, and then that person says, listen, I will pay you a bunch to go over here. And he's like, maybe. But once he ends up far enough away from the capital, far enough away from anything that Cao Cao has to deal with, Cao Cao's like, why would I send armies or spies after Lu Bu? He will kill them. Instead, I can just let him kill my enemies. Like, I don't actually have to be directly involved. So I like the idea that the spies aren't hurting us anymore. Hi, Bradley. Bradley Rose joined the chat.
Hello, hello. All right. Here's what we are going to do here. We need to... That is the range there. They're going to hit us with towers. We have dug tunnels. Oh. We didn't even need to. There's an opening. What are we doing digging fucking tunnels? Like a jackass. Everyone form a single file line.
I was going to say, frequently, when there are towers, towers can only fire at so much at one point in time. And so trying to get everybody in range of one tower rather than spread out so that every tower can be firing on a separate unit. Of course, this choke point does give the enemy also, a choke point to defend, but...
That's fine. I'm Lu Bu. I don't know if you've heard of this. We're just here now. We're just
riding the red hair.
The most...
I think the red hair is possibly the most famous horse in the history of the world.
I think that's fair.
I could be wrong. I can't think of a more famous horse, like, Secretariat or whatever. But hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, people have known about red hair. So I think that may outweigh, Dulcinant or any other famous horses.
You have to start getting into like pop culture horses. You have to start hearing about fucking Seabiscuit, or you come up with anything.
Seabiscuit, Hi-Ho Silver. You know what I mean? Like, these things might be more familiar to pop culture oriented 21st century Americans, but we are a small subset of the human population of the last millennium.
Mm-hmm. All right, everyone fall in here.
Of course, here's another Magic the Gathering card. Shout out. Riding the Dilu horse, a weird sorcery that gives +3/+3 in horsemanship, but on the card they didn't write until end of turn, so it's just, it perpetually gets that bonus.
That's awesome.
One of the few cool things that involves Liu Bei on his own, our erstwhile protagonist, Liu Bei, Xuanda, as his courtesy name, is he has this white horse who people keep saying, we've done the astrology, we've looked at the stars, we've done our fortune telling, and this horse is just going to like always lead its riders into death and like despair and to terrible things happening to it.
This horse sucks. This horse is dog shit.
This horse is like oracled by nature or heaven or whatever to lead its rider into ruin. And Liu Bei's like, it's a pretty good horse. And like,
it simply can't be that bad.
Like, how can a horse dictate a person's like history or future or whatever? And
he's eventually
has this tiny army. He's totally outnumbered. All of his people are wiped out. He has to run away. And there's this big river that he has to cross. And the horse just jumps like halfway over the river, and then instead of like losing its footing and falling, like just like struggles its way through the second half of the river and leaps and jumps and struggles and paddles and then gets to the other side. And then Liu Bei gets to like a city nearby, and people are like, wait, how did you do that? That other army can't follow you. It's kind of like Moses parting the Red Sea sort of thing. It's just like, well, it's a river. We could use boats, but like normal people can't just cross a river like that at speed, especially in armor. They always talk about their battle gowns. They have these like silk kind of setups to make not just their armor, but to make themselves stand out. And, you know, of all the things that Liu Bei does, I think standing by this horse that everyone says is bad luck, and maybe has had some bad luck as far as people dying, but like, I think every horse who isn't named in this story has someone die nearby it, because that's where horses are. Horses are
in battle like that. Let's see here.
And like, even if like you're the winning person, if you're riding your horse into 1v1 combat against the other general and they've got a horse, their horse might die, your horse might live. Your horse is still like nearby somebody dying. So it certainly is connected.
Should I? So he's asking for a lot of shit from me in order to form a coalition with Gongsun Zan.
I mean, I am... It would be fine. He's a... Here's the problem with it. I don't know if he's going to try to also have an alliance, or if he already has one with the Yuan brothers, with Yuan Shu, who's calling himself emperor, who is currently paying us, but we are eventually going to try to kill.
Yep.
And Yuan Shao, the other brother with a relatively stronger army.
Okay. So I should ignore this then. This is a thing that's just like, hey man, I'm not in your shit.
So he does help one of the guys we like, Sun Chan's father, Sun Jian, Sun Ce's father as well, like, keep doing these attacks, and he does eventually betray Yuan Shao. So I think I'm on board with accepting.
Okay. It's $4,000. He makes us pay him $4,000.
Oh, pay him $4,000?
Yeah.
I don't see the point.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
He's poor. We're equal.
Yeah.
telling you, Lunacy, dude, you're asking Lu Bu to pay you 4,000, and
Every
just
fucking
not...
day, someone shows up and says, "Hi, give me $4,000," and I say, "I'm not going to do that."
He historically does not, historically or in literature, does not live that much longer than the period we are in.
Cool. And I'm gonna.
He studied with Liu Bei back a long time ago.
Hell yeah! I'm gonna eat this fucker's lunch. My mercenary contract is just about done. And then who am I gonna? I guess then we'll start walking.
Have we done what we needed for the mercenary contract, or will it be like, you're out of time, give me all of your money back?
I think the more we do it, we get like we are going to become more and more celebrated. We're going to gain more fame and fortune by winning these battles, and so I think this might be the last of their army, and so I'm going to kill them.
Brother, it says, my autobiography, the audiobook of which is dictated by horse. Redzaro says, what I learned from that is that horse is unkillable, just didn't have an unkillable rider before. And that's the classic mistake, people who wrote it before me. It's true. After Liu Bei's treachery gets Cao Cao to, instead of recruiting Lu Bu, instead executing Lu Bu, later on Liu Bei and Cao Cao are like antagonists with one another, but Lord Guan is, after Liu Bei's escaped across the river, everyone's like, we don't know where Liu Bei is. He might be dead. No one's seen him. And Lord Guan's in the capital, and Cao Cao's like, yeah, Lord Guan, we'll give you anything you want. Can you just like be on our side? And Lord Guan's like, I have this loyalty though, like this loyalty to my brother, who I love.
Your brother who you love.
The erstwhile protagonist.
Of course.
And so you will never, like, no matter what you do to buy my, like, allegiance, this will never work. And one of the things that he's given is the red hair, the horse that Lu Bu is riding right now. And one of the most Arthurian, not in the sense of King Arthur, but in the sense of, in the style of the legends surrounding King Arthur, is Lord Guan's, this long trip he takes through all of these different checkpoints where people keep stopping him, and he says, my honor compels me to go north and rejoin my brother. And they say, I think you need to wait. And he kills them. And then this cycle keeps repeating to the point that it feels like a morality tale. And it's just this, like, it feels like a Dynasty Warriors, like, short campaign where, like, we need you to go through these 9 battles in order to rejoin your beloved brother, the erstwhile protagonist, Liu Bei. It's of any of the points to root for the good guys, it's one point where you're like, this is cool. This is larger than life. This is chivalrous in a real way, because it's about saying, whatever money you give me, whatever power you give me, whatever threats stand in my way, I made a promise, and the promise that I made that day, Riley, do you remember the promise that we made that day? As they said, the Peach Garden Oath at that very beginning, it's like, oh, that is important enough that all of these other things happen as a result of that specific thing. Empires wax and wane, states cleave asunder and coalesce, which is what I was taught growing up as the first line of Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Turns out most people learned the other version, which is, of course, the empire long united must divide, long divided must unite. And whether you learn that or empires wax and wane, states cleave asunder and coalesce, of course the next line is, and Han was the victor, because even though the story starts with the Han Dynasty, it's not like that came out of nowhere. There was always war in the past, too. But because of the Peach Garden Oath, empires do literally wax and wane, and states literally do cleave asunder and eventually coalesce.
Victory was never in doubt.
Oh, yeah. We have wiped them out, which means I believe Juliet, we are approaching. Oh, our power increases. Yay! We're the second marquee.
Second marquee. That's one of our big goals is to be
Okay.
second marquee.
Yes. So we want to do some stuff that I need some spies fucking yesterday, and then if I juice up my armies.
Do you think we can get to Yuan Shu and kill him?
I think we can get to him. Wow, we're halfway to the next marquee too. Like we are like we're going fucking hog wild over here. All right, so that's Han Empire, right? That's him. Let's go.
Is that Yuan?
No, where are we at? Where are you at, man? There it is. All right. Active spy, deploy. Can I deploy you there? Oh, do I have to take you from this side? Okay. Click. Deploy. Go over there, buddy. Go do some spy stuff. And then
I think if we kill the would-be emperor, and then it's like we say, okay, there will probably be consequences to this, and we don't need to worry about
what those actually look like.
I'm glad we recruited Diao-chan Deadly Beauty. That's such a great... I like the idea that she's a legendary strategist. I think you could easily retell the story and have a lot of like Wang Yun's stuff be kind of her idea. Because she is so good at playing a part and playing two extremely powerful men against each other, that like the tyrant is deposed, that Lu Bu does kill Dong Zhuo. It's, you know, is it kind of weird that that's the woman's role, is to like be so pretty that she's able to turn two men against each other? We could ask for more. We could ask for like a Lady Zurong, who isn't probably going to show up for another 25 years, I think, at this timeline. But it is...
Hoss.
We're about to kill your brother.
Yeah, no, you would be my enemy, actually, very specifically.
And you're again asking us for 4,898.
I am not
monies.
paying you to be your friend.
Yeah.
All right. Sign a peace treaty with Liu Bei. Sign a peace treaty with a lot of people. War happening.
Oh, did you see who signed a peace treaty with Liu Bei?
Oh, I can go
Nothing
back and find
matters,
out. Spy dispatched. Declare war. There's a lot of stuff happening.
Oh, well.
Right. Oh, there's.
Oh,
Yuan
Yuan
Shao.
Shao. Okay, great. So, well, two of the people who we want to fight signed a peace treaty with one another.
Are now
like,
homies. Which is
that's okay.
good for them. Because I'm going to kill them. Here we are. We're rolling
Speaking
in.
of the Arthuria.
Ooh. Trade agreement and they'll pay us? I love this guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love this guy.
I am pleased.
I'm glad we spent our momentum early on to
Course
start
to be
building
our
that relationship.
friend.
So speaking of Arthuria, there is a thing that happens. We have so many chapters and so many things of politics and scheming and war and fighting and moving troops and waiting 2 seasons for the grain to come and all of these different things. Supply lines, reinforcements, personal battles, etc. But once Cao Cao is in power, every now and then is there a reason not to just fight this?
I think you're right. I was just taking a second to be like, I
mean,
build
trust your
my-
instinct.
No,
If
I
starve out
can win
works-
this fight. I can win this fight easy peasy. I can use that to rebuild my crew.
Smart and be thoughtful. They will not stand a chance.
Okay, heard. I wonder if I should just
Every-
if I could mail Liu Bei and be like, hey, I want to coerce you into giving me Guan
Nature
Yu
is renewed. We too
as a
must
general. Okay, let's see here. So they're gonna be on
Or-
the defensive. They're all not opening.
You know, we don't have to break up the legendary trio of brothers who will always stay loyal to each other. You could just give us Zhou Yu. Like, you can just give us Z-Long, and we will be very happy with that.
Everything will be fine and normal.
So every few chapters, and by every few, like, just occasionally out of nowhere, just to break up the pace. And I don't know how you would adapt this part, but I'm sure you could find some way to do it. You have, and now, a chapter where Cao Cao is bothered by a wizard.
It is crazy that there's just wizards.
I mean, they aren't called wizards, but they are Taoists. They are so at one with like nature and the world and like the great beyond that they are either like literally immortal in terms of they can live for hundreds of years, or when you kill them, they just like are also there the next day. Or at one point in time, Cao Cao is really bothered by this guy, and he's got like an eye patch and a weird leg and this weird beard and all this stuff. And so he puts out a wanted poster for this one guy, and he sends the wanted poster to basically all the suburbs of the capital, all of the like areas nearby. And then like at the end of the week, all of these people are brought to the capital, and there's just like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who look exactly like this guy with the eye patch and the weird leg and the weird beard. And it's just like, oh, he can just be in, not only can he be in multiple places at once, he can be multiple of himself in one place at any given point in time.
Metal. Awesome.
Nobody does fireball attacks or anything like that. And I want to be clear that these aren't wizards in the D&D sense. The reason I reference like Arturia is like Arthurian myth and legend is I think it's in a space that we would also in the modern era sometimes call like of the like the druidic variety of like Merlin, like or Gandalf.
The like
Weird,
enlightened fucking like weirdo who rolls with
weird
the crew.
guy who's in touch with stuff, and you never really know the extent or source of the power that's being involved there, and you probably don't want to spend too much time around this person or rely on them too much, because if you do, you're going to become like a cautionary tale, or you're going to
on
become
why
like
you don't do exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, you don't have like, and here's my staff with, here's like my court wizard, here's my like sidekick vizier who is a wizard. It's like occasionally, as rarely as possible, I go and consult somebody for advice. Or if you're our erstwhile protagonist, Liu Bei, you go and you see Still Waters, and because not only do people have their conventional name, they have their courtesy names, and then select characters also have their Taoist names. And so you go see Still Waters, and Still Waters is like, hey, Liu Bei, our erstwhile protagonist, you're going to potentially encounter, possibly, there's two really important people in this region. One of them is Sleeping Dragon, and the other is Young Phoenix. And Liu Bei is like, I would like to know more about how to find these people, because those are epitaphs. They're epithets for them. They aren't the names that I'm gonna like just go look up.
Yeah.
Oh, where's the Sleeping family? It's not like Friends of the Table 1415, where like his 1415's father, their father is, you know, Jonathan 15. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, oh, of the Sleeping family, Sleeping Dragon. No, it's an epithet in that way. And eventually he does find Young Phoenix, who is Pang Tong, who plays a really important part in the Battle of Redcliffe, and is like involved, but is so briefly involved in the story. You could leave Pang Tong out of an adaptation of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and it wouldn't feel like there's something missing. He's just like a little like bonus addition. When he does die, I do think there's a really good little poem there, especially because, I mean, I'm someone who likes poetry. I'm someone who likes meter. His little not epithet, but epitaph is Pengtong foretold a kingdom cut in thirds, which is like what happens. We get three kingdoms. We get the empire cut into
I know the name of the
to
book.
three
Yeah.
of them. As we always say, pour one out for the young phoenix. His death is also Kong Ming's fault. It turns out Sleeping Dragon is Zhuge Liang, who is the Sleeping Dragon, who is Kong Ming, who is the brilliant, intelligent tactician who everybody loves, and the stories really love to focus on, because if you've never read or engaged with Romance of the Three Kingdoms stuff, it's really fun to watch the person who's so smart. But again, I really dislike the way he betrays people constantly. And gosh, the whole events with Juyu. So Juyu is one of the tacticians for the South, for the what eventually becomes Wu,
Okay.
the empire of the Suen family. They're the naval people. You know what I mean? They're blue in the color pie for Portal 3 Kingdoms. Juyu is known as, if he's walking by and there is one note out of place or one instrument tuned wrong in a whole orchestra, he will be able to pick it out. And he's a general. Like he's just really in tune with the world.
Oh,
and
shit.
so if you go see like John Woo's Red Cliff, right? If you go see one of these big movies or any sort of adaptation of Red Cliff, it's Juyu and it's Kong Ming doing all of this stuff.
Okay. Hey,
Juyu
as
is
a
really-
quick heads up, it's about to get. So I just turned down a peace treaty
With whom?
from Wanshu, and he is
Great.
now coming out to me, which is fine, a-okay. However, he is very big.
He's got like 3 armies.
He's got a very tall little notch
wow.
there. Let me reach out to my homie. Where are we at? Let's sort by friendship. Hey, my best friend. War. Can I ask for military assistance, actually? It's not part of my coalition. I need him to be part of my coalition right now. Yes, proposed deal. Thank you so much. War coordination. Awesome. Okay. He is now kind of signed in with us. That's awesome. Can I ask for your help to attack?
Of course, how soon is the help gonna come?
Yeah, that's fair. For what's absolutely.
Oh, he's right nearby.
Yeah, he is our next door neighbor.
That's very exciting.
So he is going to target right there. He's going to start pushing there, which is great.
Bradley Rose asks, have you played this game before? Riley has. I have not. I believe is the case.
Yes, I love Three Kingdom. I love Total War games. I'm not like awesome at them, but I love doing them. I simply love playing them and hitting my head against them. So we're gonna sit here. We're gonna beef up our boys. We have a lot of money.
One of the reasons why we allied with and are now in a fantastic coalition with Sun Tzu is because one of his generals is Zhou Yu, my favorite character in this story. The tactician of the South, the tactician of at some points in time, the Riverlands, and of these great naval battles that eventually happen in the story.
Right. They are coming to attack it. This place doesn't have walls.
Decisive defeat.
That's not true. I haven't we have to fight it. They're coming after us.
So our initial army is stronger than theirs, but their reinforcing army is as big as ours is. So their total of their initial plus reinforcing is very big.
So with that, we need to kill them. We need to do as much damage as possible at the beginning. But no, they're all the way back there. Their goal is to immediately patch up. So what we need to instead do is try to take as much cover as possible. And we're going to go for a shock and awe approach here. So first off, let's grab everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I want all my archers in one crew. What is this? We deploy outside of the deployment zone. That's interesting. I could have her and her
what's sometimes
Archers.
called vanguard deployment.
Yeah.
Being able to.
Guerrilla.
So basically, what this represents fictionally in the deployment phase is you have these zones where time is stopped before the army starts, and you could put your forces in any place. Think of it almost like laying down your forces in Stratego, kind of, only you've got a bigger space and smaller pieces. And so you've got to commit to where you're putting them, and you can keep redeploying them until you actually hit start battle. And at that point, it's like, okay, the whole time our plan all along was to get to this exact point. And that's because we're expecting the enemy is over there, and they are also then committed to that point. So we've got our weird green kind of circular rectangle, and they have their big orange one. Around their orange one is a larger white one,
Mhm.
and in that space, we can potentially deploy very specific troops who have an ability that lets them be planted there. And what that represents is basically we've anticipated where we think they are, because they're not necessarily going to be exactly where we see them. We just see they're going to be
But it makes sense because
in
that's
that
where all
orange
the
space?
reinforcements would come. So this would kill everybody who I deploy here, but we'd be able to get a lot of shots off to start.
that's a lot of archers that are going to be counter firing potentially.
I think the better option is to have everybody kind of hide together here. And I have
In Total War Warhammer, the Vanguard units are typically either assassins or dogs, like the wolf units
Oh,
that you
awesome.
have, or like war dogs and things like that. So you get those in the back of your enemy so that they can try to chase down the artillery and everything and take them out, because wolves are not particularly good in hand-to-hand combat, but they're fast and quick and can like really get in there from the Vanguard.
That's awesome. I like that. I'm right now cramming everyone kind of into these trees together to hide. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to bait them out, let them walk to us. I have deployables. What are my deployables? Ooh, I have oil. That's actually very interesting. I could try to burn down this forest when they approach.
I was gonna say the forest that we are in.
Yeah, I could back up, be visible, have them approach, shoot flaming arrows into this forest, and light it all on fire.
Okay, here's the question. If we are backing up and having them approach, and they instead wait for the rest of their
Which they're
reinforcements to
going to do
arrive
anyway.
and then march forward,
No matter what, they're going to get all their homies from right here. They're going to pop in here. So truly, it's either try to rush them and not get there by the time that army appears, but maybe be able to, like, I don't even think we'd be able to cut the distance, you know what I mean?
I trust you. You are the wartime general.
This is what we're going to try to do. I think
If that's the case, yeah, I was gonna say, go ahead and deploy where we want to be deployed so that our troops are at maximum like restfulness.
yeah. We are gonna kind of have the crew here. Put the homies up in front together.
Frequently in this sort of game, if you have lots and lots and lots of missile units, you end up wanting to deploy them in what's called a checkerboard formation. So if you imagine squares, like the dark squares on a checkerboard with just empty space where the white squares on I say checkerboard, chessboard would be, like the red and black squares on the checkerboard. That way, on the scales that we're working at, I don't think that's actually
Okay.
like this is mostly for the viewer at home. This is not me trying to,
Gotcha.
to like coach or
Nicely
correct you.
coach.
I think if we had bigger armies or bigger unit scales and everything, it would particularly matter. But the purpose of that is when you know that some of the enemy cavalry or infantry, some of their melee troops are going to make it into melee range with some of your ranged troops, but you don't know where. Setting up this checkerboard formation allows the brunt of any sort of melee incursion to be caught up in exactly one of those units, while all of the other archer or, firearm sort of units can shoot at the melee units who have come in nearby. It effectively sacrifices one of your units, and you don't know which one that's going to be because you don't know what direction they're going to be coming from. But by sacrificing heavy casualties in one unit, you can still win the battle, still potentially win the war. That's alongside the hammer and anvil we talked about earlier, where you set up your infantry as an anvil and your cavalry as a hammer to smash the enemy onto the anvil. The checkerboard formation is one of the other sort of basic things that tends to work in a lot of this type of strategy game.
We are watching and waiting. Time is moving. I'm just waiting for them to pop up on my map. I've got Lubu out here. Okay. They are over there. They're still organizing.
It is interesting that we have a stratagem involving fire going on, because that is a really frequent thing in Romance of the Three Kingdoms. It is not like every battle involves fire, but frequently the biggest and most important battles do involve either actually it turns out nobody needs to fight because we did such a good strategy, or fire, or both of those things. We don't need to fight because we were able to set a big fire and it destroyed the other enemies, so now we don't have to fight because of the fire. That's how, Liu Bei is set up to eventually die. That's the burning of Xinyi, of course. Xinyi, another famous Magic the Gathering card, because that one's in cube drafts very frequently. It's a wildfire effect. And the Battle of Redcliffe. Spoilers. That's this. So Peng Tong convinces, he's kind of just, this mystic, advice. He gives Cao Cao's generals the advice to connect all of their boats up with iron rings, because all of their troops aren't used to naval combat. They're army, they're not navy. And so by connecting all of their boats up with like wood and iron rings and all of these things, it'll stabilize the boats, so you could even like ride horses from one boat to another. It's like, this is brilliant. Now that they have firm ground, our army, our big strong army, is going to win the day. But secretly, Peng Tong has been working for the combined alliance of the Suen armies, the Wu armies, and of like Liu Bei's sort of forces, the Shu Han, which is mostly just Peng Tong and Kong Ming there. It's the big Battle of Redcliffe. And so, because they were able to convince the bad guys to tie all of their boats together with like wood and iron rings, then setting a fire on one of the boats spreads to all of the other boats.
Awesome.
And that's why Kong Ming is needed to do a ritual to make sure the wind starts blowing the right direction, so that the wind will blow the fire from one boat to all the other boats, and it destroys the whole navy. It is a climactic and fascinating way to have the ending of probably the best and most interesting battle and series of strategies. And there's a reason why we have movies like Redcliffe adapting the Battle of Redcliffe, because it's kind of the one where you can root for the good guys the most.
I just need somebody, please fire off a fucking flaming arrow at the forest. There we go. Okay, I see some fire starting.
Face my blade! You are
Okay.
all show and no skill!
Alright. Capture these guys. Have them start firing over there.
I'm leaving total faith in Riley to be able to do this. So, the Battle of Redcliffe is the head general, or admiral, I suppose you could say, because there's a lot of naval stuff going on there, is Zhou Yu. He's working for the South. He's working for what eventually becomes Wu, for the blue color pie aligned folks, who are now our ally in this game. Alongside all of these Wu forces who are really used to naval battles, who are used to training on and around and in water and coasts and rivers and things like that. He additionally has on loan Kong Ming, Zhuge Liang, Sleeping Dragon, who is this great tactician and general who we've talked about. And Zhou Yu is a pretty good tactician. He's a pretty good strategist on his own, but he's not the world's most special boy who can always anticipate everything. He's not this terrible little twink. And so they're on the same side, and he's thankful to have Kong Ming. But he's a little bit aggravated that he ends up so dependent on this other guy when he's supposed to be leading all of these troops that are from the same place he is, and we have this new tactician from some other place who's like actually making all of the plots and plans, and it's like, shouldn't I be doing the schemes? And some of his schemes work, but consistently it is Kong Ming's schemes that actually like affect the long-term sort of stuff, and that really subvert the expectations of the enemy, and aren't just, oh, we're more experienced in naval combat, but instead like, oh, we anticipated your every move and maneuvered you into a terrible situation. And did we actually shoot some of our own folks with arrows, maybe?
No, we have they are kind of, there's a lot of shit happening, and Diao Chan was yelling at the rest of the crew here. We're gonna send them these
I see.
three.
And then he was yelling back at her.
Yeah.
I see. So, by the time Cao Cao's army is just totally defeated, and then Cao Cao's leaving, and then Lord Guan lets him go, because again, we got to keep up the, outside of kayfabe, maybe we're maintaining these things. And kind of the beginning of the splintering between the forces of Suen and the forces of Liu Bei, when like Suen's being like, here, oh my god, is it daughter or sister? I'm pretty sure it's his, it's his sister, because it is Suen Jian's daughter, is eventually married to our erstwhile protagonist Liu Bei. You know, we've got what should be alliance there.
We got him.
And if they had that alliance, they would just entirely stomp Cao Cao forever, and we could potentially see the return of a somewhat segmented but somewhat positive, kind of stable relationship between most of the north and then like this like river divided southern area, and that would be fine. We'd have the Han Dynasty, we could have peace, we could eventually start working these things out.
We took out their
But
general in the
unfortunately,
Flaming
that's not the way
Forest. It all
history
worked.
works. Yes! Flaming Forest Trap works on the general.
If you,
Also, I think
for
an
those of
ad
you
is
who
being
aren't
served
counting,
here. Somebody's-
aren't keeping track, the general being Wan Shao.
Shower shoe.
The fucking.
We can find out later.
It was the guy whose face was on everything. Hey, y'all get in there. Y'all take those shots. Just fucking dial them in. All right, you gotta
I
come
think
home.
we were trying to fight Yuan Shu, but I mean, part of the problem with Yuan Shu is that his brother is right nearby, is Yuan Shao, who is, you know, much stronger than Yuan Shu is. But Yuan Shu calls himself emperor. So, when things should be good, unfortunately, history does not work that way, and they didn't just decide to change things up and cut the Romance of the Three Kingdoms in half. We still need the Three Kingdoms to come about. And so there's going to be a splintering between the Wu forces of Suen, this like southern naval force, and the forces of Shu Han of Liu Bei, our erstwhile protagonist. The things really come to a bead or like a characterful head with Zhou Yu and Kong Ming, because Kong Ming keeps setting up situations now that the big fight is over. We did it! Yay! Kong Ming, the tactician, keeps setting up situations where Zhou Yu is like humiliated or defeated in some way, and Joyu's like, listen, I've had it. I am also an incredible tactician. Like, there's a rivalry between us, and everyone's like, wow, there's this terrible rivalry. This is incredible. We defeated the would-be emperor.
Hey.
Okay, wait, sorry, real quick. What happens if who are his friends?
His friends are Yang Hong, Jiling.
And then rivals?
Everybody else.
So who's the top middle rival? Interesting. So he's currently not allied with his brother. He's currently rivals with his brother. His traits are arrogant, ambitious, and cruel.
I'm going to take his heavenly sword, I'm going to take his spy master, and I'm going to kill this man.
Yeah, we are executing.
Lu Su, what do you got here?
Okay, Lu Su, his traits are sincere, modest, and fraternal.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have not had a lot of chance to employ folks.
You're in Yang Hong. All right.
Clever, loyal, and charismatic.
Your only friend is Wan Shu, who is already dead.
Who dead?
And I want your outfit.
Okay, yeah.
We
trust your instinct.
We're kind of making a big. You can go. I don't. You are
modest, lumbering, and feared. Yeah.
Release.
I have little need of
maintain momentum. Rebuild.
Here are our terms.
Oh, that's it? That's your only terms? Is that we will cooperate with you?
I don't know what cooperation necessarily means in this game.
From our family, they will get 20% of all of our money. I don't want to do that.
Okay, Liu Bao is Liu Biao is a relative of Liu Bei, who Liu Bei's people are always telling him, like, listen, you just need to go and take over his stuff. He's old, he's getting older, he can't run his place well, and Liu Bei's like, no, how could I ever betray another person? And then that whole area is lost to Cao Cao because Liu Bei doesn't actually like act on things. Liu Biao is not long for the world, is what I'd say, but he's rich. So
can I negotiate to get some money? You give me. How much money can I ask for before you start getting mad? If I go, give me. He is rich.
People usually ask us for just under 5,000.
Oh God, that's too much. I accidentally clicked too much. Hold on. Everyone pause.
Give me twice the amount you have. It's like, well, I'm gonna say no.
200.
For all of it and then some.
Just see what he feels about that. He's already like still going to do it. So we're just gonna kind of dial it up, and then we are going to add coercion. How about you give me 6,000 flat?
Give me 6 and I'm coercing.
Yeah. That sounds
like
good.
Being mugged for $1. Hey, so, don't mean to get rough, but I need $1.
There you go. I'll take a big chunk of your money, almost half of your money. All right, so I guess we did what the we got that overarching mission, right? Yep. Yep. Greatest warriors, Long Clan, unlocked by defeating them with my faction leader. Gain prestige.
Yep.
Love that. Faction succession. Lady Fang.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, we got vassalized.
Yep.
That's what it was. Okay. Well.
That's a bummer, but he's again not long for this world, and we made $6,000.
Oh, that got us a peace treaty with a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like a bunch of people.
It's very
That's
good.
not the worst thing in the world. I feel like this might be, once we like finish resolving all of this.
This is a good place to
This might be a good place to like save our like. Listen, we accomplished a whole lot. We not only fulfilled all of our military contracts, we achieved peace with all of the major players. Did what the emperor asked to take out the anti-emperor, the would-be pretender.
We started up here and then cut down to here, became besties, cleared out a place for ourselves. It's truly, truly impressive. And here, we just have some momentum, so I just want to kind of... Oh.
Wait.
Oh, I have to request permission to declare war?
That's Lady Fang, who just
Took over.
inherited
Yeah.
the guy who we killed's place.
So I want to keep it up, right? I want to keep him down.
You know, I mean, she could be a better ruler. I trust your instinct. I might say let's pause while we're ahead.
So, since we're about to wrap, that's just kind of why I'm like, let's push the momentum a little bit further.
Okay. We'll be
un-
considered untrustworthy because we signed a peace deal this
'cause
turn.
Liu Bao signed a fucking peace treaty. What a dipshit. All right, all right.
I think he probably already had a peace treaty,
Mm-hmm.
and so we were just like co-opted into that peace treaty.
Okay. So where is
That makes
my
sense.
home now? I guess we'll go back there. Okay. Well then that is Romance of the Three. That's Total War Three Kingdoms, which frankly we did very we grabbed victory from the jaws of defeat a couple times here. Now that's not the only thing we're here to play tonight. We're gonna give another game a little bit of our time and give it a bit of the old razzle dazzle here, and I'm gonna share it first off with you, and then let's see how something else interprets the same text, shall we? Oh no, Seraph.
Oh, wait. Sorry,
Seraph, but wait, there's
we're
more.
not over. This is a Three Kingdoms spectacular.
I gotta change the game.
Did you think there would only be one incredible campaign?
Dynasty
I
Warriors
really wanna-
9.
If we can get to our like character select screen here.
Absolutely. Conquest mode, new game. All right. That's against song. So this is
The
where we
Alliance
were.
Against
This is where we
Dongstone?
started the other one.
If we jump slightly forward, Battle of Vandu, let's go. Yeah, I think. So I think right before this,
Right before
is
this?
where we want.
Right here?
I think around here is where we're going to want, because this is Cao Cao against Sun Quan. I think this is like the interesting and climactic sort of
All right.
space. Of course, I have not played Dynasty Warriors 9.
Let's take a look at
So-
some of the characters to just see
Uh-huh.
how maybe they're different. What do we think right trigger
So-
is on keyboard?
Cao Cao, Cao Cao, because they are two different characters for Cao and Cao.
Sorry, I'm
Cao Pi,
trying to
Cao
like
Ren.
figure out what
Cao
left button
Hu.
is.
So we could do a Guan Yu thing. I was hoping,
Let's see here.
and it looks like we might be able to scroll down.
Yeah, I gotta. The button mashes
Mm-hmm.
are all weird. Dynasty Warriors 9 keyboard controls. I can't use a controller, chat, because my controller is somehow for some reason reading every face button as right trigger. So I just need to
Okay, so while you do that, I'm going to finish telling this Zhou Yu story a little
yes,
bit.
please.
So, Zhou Yu, who is this beautiful and brilliant general and everything, but from the Sun, from the Wu forces,
Gotcha.
he's like, listen, Kong Ming, this other tactician, is my who we just saw there.
Oh, Kong Man.
Is he Zhang Liang? I mean, this looks like him. Should be Zhu Liang, not
I mean,
Zhang.
I can search and try to
I
find.
could be wrong. There was multiple people who could have weird fans, but oh wow, there's a lot of
We got a lot of guys. Which one were you looking for?
okay. Can you find me ZH?
ZH,
Can you find me
absolutely.
the ZHs?
Let me
There's way more of these characters than I thought there were.
You said over 1,000, right?
Uh-huh.
ZH, all right.
Okay, and then just a little bit further down. Okay, I'm gonna look up what name they would have him under for this. Would he be Gong Jing in this? It seems wild to me that he wouldn't be around for this, but is it like, oh no, he just died?
Who's
'Cause this is the thing.
Whose crew
Anyways,
is he in? I can sort by crew.
He's in the Wu crew. He's in Suen Chuan's crew. So Suen Chuan's
All right.
army.
Bam. All right.
There. So Peng Tong, and then just keep scrolling down. Because he should be near the bottom. There we go.
Oh, right here.
This is him. Yes. This is my boy.
This is.
He-
Congratulations,
He's like,
Aerith,
listen.
on your transition.
I mean, I think Aerith is more in the like the weird Taoist
Like wizard.
prankster
Yeah,
wizard
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of territory.
Absolutely.
Red Services just finished a chapter of Case Closed where Kong Ming was important. I believe it. We've got a Case Closed fan. We should get in for a podcast on that sometime.
Absolutely
But
should.
Kong Ming also made the Zhu Liang, aka Kong Ming, aka Sleeping Dragon, also like invented the Sky Lantern,
That's
and so
cool.
they're named after him in Chinese. Zhou Yu has this rivalry with this other tactician who's written in the story to be much smarter than him, and smarter than anyone in the history of like anything in the whole story. And Kong Ming keeps setting up Zhou Yu to fail in all these different ways and keeps like pranking him. And Zhou Yu gets this like wound and it keeps bothering him. And he keeps being like, no, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna show this little twink that like I can handle this. And then like stuff keeps happening to him, so this wound keeps getting worse, and he's like coughing up blood and he's doing all this stuff. And Kong Ming eventually gets Zhou Yu in a situation. They aren't fighting each other, but Kong Ming is still just like setting up these terrible like
Saw
tactician
traps.
pranks and situations to the point that Zhou Yu dies. And then at like Zhou Yu's funeral and everything, Kong Ming shows up and everyone's like, yeah, Zhou Yu was always talking about this rivalry he had with Kong Ming and how much they were like fated to be hated with each other and terrible. And Kong Ming like comes and like bows really low and he's like, oh, Zhou Yu, taken before our time. And everyone's like, oh, Kong Ming is so graceful. This whole rivalry was in Zhou Yu's head. And so everyone thinks that Kong Ming was this great guy and that like tarnishes the memory of Zhou Yu. And it's like, no, Kong Ming set up Zhou Yu to
Saw
die.
traps.
He set him up to be mortally wounded, set him up to die, and then shows up to the funeral to ruin the memory and like steal any valor that he
Funny.
had.
We gotta play him. We gotta bring it back.
While this loads and we see some introduction sequences, I'm gonna get some more water. So I'm gonna be
Absolutely.
right back here.
We won't be playing this one for as long, but
天下を狙う曹操は瞬く間に慶州を制し南進を続けた。そしてついに孫権の治める揚州に迫る
the Char Aznable of the
長
army.
江のほとりを埋め尽くす曹操の大軍勢。かつて見ぬ強敵を前に孫悟は降伏か抗戦かで揺れていた。一方慶州を追われた劉備は画領と称えられる諸葛亮を得る。この切迫した状況に天才軍師が導き出す答えとは。諸葛亮の策が曹操、孫権、劉備の行く末を変えようとしていた。
Proper cutscene.
劉備殿、一つお聞かせください。
They really baby boy Liu Bei in a way that is very funny to me.
人々が泣かぬよう悲しみのない天下をだがそう願いつつ何もなせぬままここまで来た思いばかりが流行り進むべき道は未だ見えないのだ諸葛亮殿どうかこの私に道を示してほしい私が示す道は時に悲しみを生むかもしれませんその矛盾と苦悩に
I have returned not with water, but with Gatorade.
You know, that's just as good, but it's got electrolytes.
Mm-hmm.
We're watching a dramatic cutscene to get us in the headspace.
If it leads to the world I want.
This is one of your wizard guys? He's got the vibes of a wizard.
Oh, this is Kong Ming.
Oh.
This is Kong Ming pledging to Liu Bei. This is, I think, on the third of the 3 visits, probably. I'm jumping in late because I didn't. My capacity for Chinese is not such that I picked up on all of those subtitles. But
all right.
You know, Red Sarah says the Char Aznable of the army. I still haven't watched that part of Gundam. I've got to eventually learn about the Red Comet.
Okay, I want to get to playing a video game.
Oh, I think we were just getting to our actual character. But, okay, this is the twink I hate. This one.
Okay.
Kong Ming, Sleeping Dragon, Zhou Liang, all the same person, just 3 names.
War Council, Kingdom Objectives.
Wow, I really thought this was going to be we get in there and we start fighting. I guess that's soon, though.
Oh, no, we're not going to suggest a different objective. We're just going to kind of truck. Doc knows what's up. Okay. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, there's a battle one?
I'm just going to straight up invade. We're just going to make it happen. We're just going to make it happen. Oh, we live there. All right.
Okay, so that moment is also a thing that it's not like it happens constantly, but stuff where you have a general who doesn't really know what they're doing, and you have like a leader who doesn't know what they're doing, and then the generals, and like they got the battle map, and like the leader's like, okay, so we should send all of our troops to attack and pillage and burn down this area. And then the generals would be like, so that's where all of our grain is. Like that sort of thing does sometimes happen. Frequently in over the course of the Romans of the Three Kingdoms, a like really recurring beat. Defeat Zhang Liao's forces to take Hefei? Yeah. In general, you know, we're fighting in South South, so we're doing great.
Yeah.
We are running really fast, which is good, because looks like there's a lot of ground to cover. You know, this is very different from Total War Three Kingdoms, but at the same time,
it's very
especially
similar.
Playing as, specifically playing as Lebu, I think I think there's some similarities with the one-man army sort of approach.
Use a secret a secret plan. The secret plan sheet must be fully filled. Okay. Alright, what's up? Dynasty Warriors games are fun, man. These are games that are meant to, like, you be sitting and eating pizza and, like, drinking beers and just playing this.
And for many people, especially many people in the West specifically, Love to Skyrim horse my way up a cliff at but running at Naruto, Dragon Ball sort of speeds. For many people, the Dynasty Warriors games were their first introduction to the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. And the number of people who are like, yeah, I played Dynasty Warriors 4 and then started consuming all the Three Kingdoms content I could, and then read the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. It's like, if that's what gets you there, not that you have to read it in order, you know what I mean? Like, there's no purity in reading a text. You can also just play a video game and have fun. But it's similar to, hey, if wanting to read about the romance between all of the boys, the Barricade Boys, gets you to read all of Les Mis, hey, you read Les Mis. That's a pretty cool thing to do. I am pro people having different introductions to art because we all find our different ways to get there. Even if I will admit Dynasty Warriors games are not my cup of tea from a gameplay perspective.
Yeah, they're very do you know what's going on? do you get it? You're swinging your sword. Defeat the clan
when it was
okay.
very heavily discounted, which is not something that usually happens to Switch games, I did pick up a copy of Fire Emblem Three Hopes, the Three Houses Dynasty Warriors game.
Oh, yeah.
Is kind of like a sequel, kind of like a retelling of a different version of the story with some pretty huge changes that I would be interested in going. But I don't know, I got 4 or 5 missions in and I couldn't stick with it. It's
a game you have to be playing while you're like you have a head cold. You know what I mean? If you are going to be playing this game, then you have to find a way to play it that is just fucking kicking it.
I also think it's a game that it's a type of genre medium, something in that space that was probably better and more appealing before the internet existed. Where okay, I just want to listen to something, or I just want to get through several hours of my life. I can do it playing this game. It's well, now the internet exists, so the second I get bored doing this 4-button combo, I could play a different game rather than this could fill countless hours of stuff. Similar, I think, to a lot of EA Sports sort of games, where before the internet was its modern iteration, they were a great way to kind of people in dorm rooms casually, chilling out and playing them for a lot of time. I admit that neither the EA Sports, Madden and stuff like that, or Dynasty Warriors are my things that I have an infinite experience with, but I've certainly been around people playing these sort of games, and I think that you sometimes describe them as meat-paced games.
Meat-paced is a great term for Dynasty Warriors. This is a Crunchwrap Supreme of a game, absolutely.
I don't know because I've been talking so much. That sounds really good right now.
I need to turn this down so far. I can't. Okay. I think it's fine for the chat. I just am I catch every
I turned it way down
word.
in my mix. Crunchwrap Supreme is good. Maybe. Sounds good to think about. Possibly better to think about than to eat.
Never. I love a Crunchwrap. Oh, I can double jump.
Yeah, that's the thing about Joyu. He's such a good.
Invented the double jump.
That's why characters typically go jump you when they jump.
Extremely funny. All right, hut. Let's go, boys.
Today I made a so we did steamed rice, asparagus in the air fryer. I made chicken with gochujang sauce.
Oh, awesome!
Mixed with I got this smoky charred ends barbecue sauce to help balance the really bright heat of the gochujang, and it genuinely is the best dinner I've cooked in months, maybe? In at least a month.
That
Weeks,
sounds
at least.
so good.
The first bite, I was like, oh, I made this too spicy. But then, like, after I finished my first bowl, I'm like, oh, I can't stop eating. I need a second. I need a third. Like, it's that sort of spicy chicken.
Yes. That's
It's
perfect.
exactly what I would want from a Korean barbecue place. When I was out in California, I had some really good Korean barbecue, but I think the place here in town is not as excitingly good. Or just like, I can make, a similar thing at home. And so it was nice to be able to make something similar at home.
Fucking absolutely.
I've not tried to make my own crunch wraps, but I know that is a thing that you can do.
It would be, you would need like a big flat, not like tostada inside. I feel like getting the layer, it would be hard.
Yeah?
おっと、意外なお誘いだ。乗ってみるのも一興か。
Whoa. I don't remember seeing this guy out there. Hey.
Oh.
Yes. We gained companion. We gained a gem artifact. We gained a secret plan.
We've got a trading card. I'm glad I don't need to be making decisions here. We can just keep moving forward.
Okay.
Oh no, we're low on rations. We better go take a... So in the menu that we picked battle, one of the options is like stroll, so we could just like walk around our camp and like talk to everyone.
Do you want me to...
I'm not saying we should, just a fascinating thing that we could do.
Domestic affairs. Okay. All right. Okay. What is under buy? What can I...
Can we...
Okay. Gems. Okay.
We can't buy more ration.
Diplomacy. Scout. Let's scout. Let's just wipe out whatever this is. Yeah.
That's our erstwhile protagonist, Lupe.
Oh, let's wipe out whoever that is.
I mean, okay, so I'll say, of any point in time, unless we can go and actually take out Kongming, take out Zhu Liang, we should probably focus on Cao Cao. So, like, honestly, we're playing this game for fun.
Yep.
We don't actually have to worry about respecting the
lore.
focus of history. Yeah.
We
I worry that we're going to be running out of rations. I don't know how to get more.
Oh, damn it.
Okay, so, I mean, that is, like, we picked this particular point in time, and I think that is a thing that is going to be...
Okay. Procure rations.
I think that's a good idea.
Sure. I've earned 5 benevolent points.
Yeah, we've got +5 brave and +5 benevolent. Okay, our rations are no longer going down by a significant amount each turn.
Oh, April's done. I want to fight somebody again.
Yeah,
in the
I would say
fighting game.
let's battle. Cao Pi, who eventually tries to become emperor later. I think Cao Pi. I think Cao Pi or Cao Cao would be, like, either one is totally reasonable to fight.
Let's
Those
get
would
the
be our
win.
top two to...
Let's get the damn win. Ally offers.
I would say Lu Su, personally. If we have to pick one, I don't know if we're choosing all of them, but
Oh, I see. Yes. Okay. So we just have to get a load up on the
Yeah.
crew here.
I would.
This guy just showed up.
Yeah, he's not my favorite, but it's genuinely, it doesn't matter. I let's bring her. She's the princess.
Okay.
I think she's a new character. I could be wrong. Beautiful Guard also is the top one.
Heard.
Sure, why not?
Squad. Oh, I don't have enough deployment supplies. Oh, okay, I see. So how do I remove? Okay, I see. Okay, so we'll bring in the princess. Oh, and then we're over deployment supplies immediately. Okay. What do we think is?
Sun Chengxiang she gets married to Liu Bei.
Oh.
That's the one who we were talking about earlier, who like secures that alliance. I don't know that I knew. Okay, so that's her name in Chinese opera. She's just called Sun Ren in or Lady Sun in Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I was like, why do I not know this other cool girl character from this side?
We only have 6,000 food, so that is too much to buy any one more person.
Any one more?
I believe. Well, maybe Mizu. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Now we have.
I
a
would
crew.
say, can we swap out Zheng Liao or Mizu, one of them, for Lady Sun?
Boom. How's that?
Great. She just helped us a bunch in the last one, and I don't know. I think I support women's wrongs.
This is a game that kind of has. This has gone beyond Meat Paste to do some Coco Melon shit to me.
I'll admit I don't know what Coco Melon means in this context.
That is
okay.
That is a fucking. That's a baby show. That's one of those baby YouTube things where it's like, yes, Papa, yes,
okay.
Papa.
I was thinking it was one of those like we sell leggings, but it's somehow a pyramid scheme. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Athleisure.
Okay, activating secret plans.
And so because we allied with Liu Bei, we get fun reinforcements from Guan Ping,
Oh, you're
who
right.
should be Guan Yu's kid. I'm pretty sure. Guan Xing is. I'm pretty sure Guan
The way
Xing
this
is.
game frames it, it's so funny because it's like, here's this whole super family that works out together.
I mean, sometimes that happens. Like, Lord Guan's kids are semi-legendary, and also they have like slightly main character status in that their dad was so cool that even after his death, if they are in trouble, his ghost will appear to like Deus Ex them into a safe situation.
Hell yeah.
Which is a great way to be like, this is my OC. Even after he dies historically, I still want him to show up in this story.
Alright, fucking charge, a big hit. Whoa, 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 whoa. My favorite part of Romance of the Three Kingdoms is when he juggled those guys in the air. Okay, let's do army coordination, see what that does. Alright. I captured this one, yeah? No, I haven't captured it yet. I thought I did. Come on. Okay, there we go. Oh. You know what? Playing this does make me very happy that we spent so long playing Three Kingdoms. I was like, are we not giving this the focus it deserves?
This is a nice late night stream block sort of
Absolutely.
sort of energy. It is good enough, and it's one of the things it does is it helps highlight the fact that you can, and historically it's been extremely successful to adapt this story in different ways. I mean, the Dynasty Warriors franchise has been going strong for decades, and Total War 3 Kingdoms only got one DLC worth of support. And obviously, that has to do with a lot of factors outside of the immediate games themselves, but people enjoy different games and different versions of stories in different ways. I mean, there's also, this is Dynasty Warriors 9. There are lots of people who are like, no, I only play Dynasty Warrior games before 8. Or, oh, I only play 3, 4, and 9. Those are the only ones.
I did notice when I was looking for which one of these to pick up to stream that this was pretty universally reviled. Which I thought was fascinating.
And some of it is, I believe, the voice acting potentially is question mark worse. It seems like it maybe has a little bit more of an open world sort of feel, which I think a thing that many of us can agree on is early ventures into making game open world sometimes get bloated and empty. And I would guess, having not played any of this game, but been around it just a little bit, I would guess that like there's so many characters that's potentially why the voice acting or dialogue could be worse, is because, you know.
It's also, I don't think it's dubbed at all, based on what I can see. Like,
oh, that would be another thing that people could not like.
All right. Open it up, boys. All right.
So a fun thing thinking about Zhao Ti and thinking about like tactics and tacticians, which we're not seeing a lot of Juyu as a tactician.
He said that a great tactic can mean that you can win any fight.
I believe it. I genuinely miss that dialogue. But so a thing that really frequently happens is that characters in the story will go, person A says, I really think that Cao Cao really deserves his role and he's such a great steward of the emperor, and isn't he so benevolent? And then the person they're talking to is like, I'm never going drinking with you again. I could not disagree more. And then person A says, good, we are agreed. I was lying to make sure that we were going to be on the same page. That happens constantly in the story. People love to do that, like really simple 1-2 A-B. Things Cao Cao does is a little bit wilder, and he does it so much, which is, he says, oh, here is this problem. Oh, here these armies or these forces are coming and attacking us. And then one of his generals or advisors says, I have a strategy. And then the chapter ends and it says, you've got to read to the next chapter to find out what the strategy is. And then you go to the next chapter and the advisor or general says, I will lead these forces and we'll do this really cool tactic. And Cao Cao every single time says, ah, yes, this is exactly what I was thinking. Go do it for me. And it's the funniest thing because it's like, it's kind of lampshaded because he does it so much, but it's never like, and then his advisors looked askance at him for lying through his teeth. But every time someone has it, he's like, oh, we're so lost. No one has a good idea. And then somebody has a good idea, and he's like, yes, yeah, you said exactly what I've been thinking the whole time. And everyone goes, oh, Cao Cao, you're so wise. You're so brave and strong. We're gonna go all fight and die in your name.
Fucking love it. It's just so fucking funny. Kaboom. Juliet, I think after this fight, I'm going to be done playing Dynasty Wars.
I think that'll be a neat 3 hours that we've spent here for our 3 kingdoms. I think that is a neat bow on things.
Yep. I agree.
Riley, I'm going to be honest, I think you still have 6 to 7 minutes before this battle is over.
Don't say that.
Hi, it's Guan Yu.
That can't be true.
I could be wrong.
I hope you are.
Capture the catapult base. Oh, okay, no, you only have one major point. I thought you had 4 because I was reading the barrier gates as forts of their own.
I see.
Yeah,
Alright,
you'll
get
be
it.
done soon.
Get to juggling.
But yeah,
Alright,
listener at home, you do not have to take my opinions about the Romance of the Three Kingdoms as gospel. You can read it for yourself, though. I will say, like, block out roughly a year for to do so. I started this before our stream 6 months ago. My first notes about this were in February, and I'm pretty sure I started it last year, proper around November. And it is October 1st today.
Good
So
God.
it is quite a lot. But if you do want to take my opinion, just know that most people won't agree with you if you're like, yeah, Shuhan and Cao Wei, they are
Those are the
so much
guys.
lesser than Suen Wu.
You will have
At the
the
end of the day-
unpopular opinion, but that makes you enlightened. Oh my god. A button masher has so much less going on when you are clicking the mouse.
I and then the character's just like, wow, you're really strong. I think you're amazing. It's like,
Just everyone
Hey.
fucking yelling, making noise.
I think this is, we defeated 14 generals. It doesn't feel like anything. Defeating one general as Le Bu felt more than defeating
Uh-huh.
all of these people. in
1,500
3D.
enemies.
Uh-huh. I do think that is also something that some people dislike about the modern iterations of Dynasty Warriors, if the things I've seen and heard on the internet are true, which is just they've inflated the numbers so much that because people want to see big numbers, like, oh, it used to be like getting a chain like knockout count of 1,000 was something that you could only do in like the biggest battles and like really felt like an accomplishment. And now you basically have to as just like the natural course of button mashing. And I can see how that would be something that game designers and companies would be like, well, big number good, so we just keep making the big number more, and then players eventually go, this isn't fun
And
anymore."
especially the draw distance isn't such to support that many people. So like here I am watching people pop in and out as I'm hitting them.
It's, how do you feel about this equivalent moment in Kingdom Hearts 2?
Oh, in Kingdom Hearts, when a game suddenly becomes a Musou game, that's one of the coolest things you can do. That's
Wrapping
awesome.
around to Kingdom. The true hero of the land. Okay.
Jesus Christ. Okay, I need quiet.
That end was so anticlimactic.
I need quiet in my ears.
Riley just hit close stream on my end.
Alt
So I don't know
F4.
what the listener at home is seeing.
I hate there's seen a black fucking screen.
Can they still see us?
Yeah, they can
still hear us?
They can still see us,
Okay.
still hear us. That would be
Last but not
hilarious
least,
though if I cut as soon as we get inside.
I think the Kingdom Hearts point, I've got one like good final point
Mhm.
to take us out on, is when I'm like playing a tabletop game,
Mhm.
and, you know, we're starting up like at the very beginning of a session. People are like, oh, what are things you're looking for? One of the things that I sometimes talk about is like,
Mhm.
oh, what if we either did or didn't, but let's say we did here.
Mhm.
Explore kind of a Kingdom Hearts style storytelling.
Mhm.
Which, hey, obviously, you know, shout
Yeah.
out to
Oh.
interstitial.
We love
tabletop
Kingdom
game.
Hearts style storytelling here.
But specifically under the idea that individual people and their choices and their interiority matter on a metaphysical layer to the story that we're telling.
Mhm.
That we don't need to be so focused on, like, we can tell a realistic, like people can be have realism to them. There can be interactions that happen on that layer, but that the individual choices of people matter metaphysically in a way that in reality they do not.
Yes.
In Romance of the Three Kingdoms, I think is a great example of that style of storytelling in a, like, obviously, 1,000 years before Kingdom Hearts sort of way.
This is exactly like Kingdom Hearts.
Where you can say, listen, we have the fate of nations in city-states, in cities and districts, and political movements and taxation and grain and, on all of these lots of different scales, that the loyalty between individual people and betrayals between individual people, and who it's like, okay, I'm your older brother, but you're more powerful than me and you're working for the other side, so I'm going to broker an alliance between our two lords, but our two lords don't trust each other. Like, any of these individual relationships between people form a complex network, but you end up having this kind of heroic status to the individual, even outside of like the legendary heroes like Lord Guan. Anybody who is a named character in Romance of the Three Kingdoms matters, and their decisions matter, even if they're very briefly on screen, and even if they are like cowards or like immediately betraying someone and dying, or like any of these things happen. And I think that is, while it's important to reflect on that not being reality, in the sense of it's important to recognize that you are not the main character of the world, and that your decisions do not metaphysically matter. And if you think that they do, like, I'm not trying to be mean to you, but you're potentially hurting yourself in the long run if you believe that. But in our stories, if we choose to say, okay, in this story, for whatever reason, the metaphysics are such that our characters and their opinions and their drives and goals and dreams and traumas matter, I think that's a decision that you can make either as an individual storyteller or as collaborative storytellers. You can say at the beginning, that's going to be one of the things we do. And that you can tell really good and influential stories starting from that point, rather than let's perfectly have a realism simulator. And then I move 5 feet down the dungeon. It's like, well, moving 5 feet forward in the dungeon and like having a torch, that is fun for some people, but like that's a very different thing when it's like, no, the question is, how afraid am I of the dark from when I was a child? And how much do you know about my fear of the dark? And am I trying to hide it from you? Or are you trying to make sure that you've got your light spells or your torches? Like, because it's about the relationship between people, the relationship between characters, not about anything else. Like, it's a character first sort of thing, which is a weird thing to say about Kingdom Hearts, where it's like, it's the Disney world, it's the fun, like, know what I mean?
But it's about the character dark. It's the surface level. It's same thing we talk about with Interstitial, where it's surface level is, but it's just it's this guy talks to this guy. It's like, no, let's engage with the character dynamics and like figure out why these two things are alike in a very fascinating way. And Total War did better at that than Dynasty Wars. Chat.
And that has been Julia and Riley's Three Kingdoms Spectacular. Thank you all for joining us tonight.
And I hope this is one I'm looking forward to rewatching, because I couldn't process a lot of what was said, but I want to learn, and so I'm going to rewatch it because I want to hear what you said instead of going, how the fuck am I not going to get cut down in this field?
Originally, we did the third Princess Switch movie for our I'll Be Pod for Castmas season, and we ended up, because it's a heist movie, doing a whole bunch of stuff with Lupin the Third and the Castle of Cagliostro. You can go check out those episodes featuring special guest Jeff Stormer. They're very fun, because he's a fan of both the Princess Switch 3 and Castle Cagliostro, so this is a very, very fun thing. But originally I was trying to pitch Catherine. I was like, okay, so it's the Princess Switch 3, and it's the romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Did that not go over well?
And she was like, I'm not sure. And I'm like, well, it's 120 chapters, but I bet we could just read like the first 60. And then she was like, well, I'm working my job and I'm teaching this semester. And so I'm like,
How much of
okay,
your
what
how
if we
much of
read
your
these short
curriculum do you
stories?
change into Three Kingdoms based?
At any given time, I'm always working on big things. And so I had taken some notes, but I had not committed to like the long project. And so I was really glad when we were able to hit that donation incentive.
Yeah.
We've announced, have we announced the next?
We are now there will be a November stream,
Okay.
as everyone expects, and news on it will happen shortly.
Yeah. And so if you enjoy content like this, make sure to tune in where there will both be more content like this and more donation incentives for more content like this for a good cause.
Hell yeah. Yep. We're dialing in on what it'll be, but it's going to be special, and it's going to be a bunch of freaks in person, and that's going to be a good fucking time. But until then,
now, good night, everyone.
good night. There's no outro. Smash cut out.